So how do we begin the podcast this week?
Lair is a bad game.
Yeah, that's not news.
Lair is a terrible game.
The old game Lair?
Yeah, there was a guy, because before the podcast starts, I take a look at the chat, and there was a guy going, no one's ever going to look at this, but Lair was a good game. And to those of you who might have seen that comment, Lair's a bad game, and you shouldn't play it.
Volta Base literally brought that up as a point of trying to make me suffer on camera.
Are you serious?
Yesterday.
Yeah?
And he said, I will play Lair in front of you. And, like, I almost cried.
Lair is not just bad to look at and to enjoy. Yes, it is bad to enjoy.
So I was just thinking about how bad Lair was less than 24 hours ago.
That's pretty great. But also, don't forget, Lair killed Rogue Squadron.
Did it?
Sure did.
Is that the same company?
Sure is. And they fucking went bankrupt after Lair was a disaster.
Yeah, but if Star Wars cared enough about Rogue Squadron, they would have
but
brought that back
even if it did, it needed to be made by that company because they made the good Rogue Squadron games.
Well, that I mean, it's not the same thing, but that VR adventure was a pretty nice X-Wing simulator.
Same thing, though.
And then again, I also did enjoy X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, the original PC game.
Well, that's a whole different thing.
It's a whole different thing, but like the Star Wars flying, I've enjoyed different incarnations of it.
That's true.
I'm not. Rogue Squadron was fun, but it's not the one I'm the most attached to.
So Volta convinced you to do like a full LP of
Lair?
He did
not.
Am I convincing you?
He tried.
Am I doing a good job?
And he failed sourly. But well, I don't want to spoil what we did talk about because he brought up something even worse. And
I think my favorite moment of Lair, and yes, we're doing this, is when I watched the game trailers video review, the ancient game trailers, now Easy Allies review, in which they'd start talking about how buggy the game is, in which the dragon was curled up into a ball, like ball posing through the air, and then when they went to slash at something, the ball just moved onto the object and just like hit it like an invisible hand was picking up a dragon rock and just banging it against the ground. And they're like, this shit is fucked.
Yeah. Also, in a world with Panzer, it's double fucked. When you're playing as a dragon in a game, you're gonna compare it to that, and it's
especially a game that's like shoot, fly, pew pew.
Yeah.
And Panzer Dragoon has like 2, maybe 3 really good games, but they're really good.
They're great.
They're real good.
I like games like that. I like those. Well, I mean, what are you gonna call what do you use to describe like that? Because it's a rail shooter.
It is totally rail shooter. It is Star Fox.
It is Star Fox.
It's Star Fox.
But the problem with the problem I've always had classifying it is the fact that like you can rotate the camera to have different.
You totally can rotate the camera.
So that makes it a little different.
Well, it is on rails, so we can call it an on-rail shooter.
It's rails, and you have these different sides you can focus on as you move forward. But then you just, I guess it's a rail shooter with like paths. Yeah, it's because
Star rail shooters are almost universally terrible, especially as sections.
Star Fox has a couple of branches in it, but it doesn't have like as many options as like Panzer gives you, you know. And I mean, if you're playing like Sin and Punishment or any older examples of that where you're on rails, like Panzer is the one where you really can like no, I'm just gonna focus on the left and that's gonna be my thing.
I want, and if you're playing Zwei, you're like, I want to get this dragon by going left and getting a high score.
Yeah, so like, Rez is not going to do that necessarily.
Is Rez Panzer Dragoon but trans?
I mean, it is a rail shooter.
It is.
It's slower moving.
Yeah.
And it's more rhythm focused, but you are moving forward on a rail.
You're locking on.
You're moving forward on a rail, shooting what's coming at you. Of course it is.
Huh. I never put that together.
Yeah.
Every time I played Rez, I was just like, ha ha, music.
Yeah, that's
like that's the entire emotion going through my head.
And that means that the other gooch succeeded.
And then the other thought that I have playing Rez is I'll load up Rez and Paige will be in the background and she'll be like, why do you load up this game and only play this one level? Mm-hmm. And I go, well, sometimes you just gotta know that fear is the mind killer. Mm-hmm. You just gotta know. That's it.
Yeah.
That game is weird in that, like, after you've beaten it a bunch of times, it is a one-level game because I only want to play that level.
I disagree. I love going through the whole thing. But that is clearly the best one. And shout-outs to Dune references. That's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, when a really good game has you just kind of go, oh wow, music, and you don't even realize what's going on,
and you're just kind of clapping,
then that's a good.
Yeah, that's a good.
That's a very good. You fucking play that thing or what?
What thing?
Did you bother with it, or did you just look at it and barf?
You're literally not asking a question. What is the thing?
The thing that is the new music hotness that you must have heard of. The game called Sayonara Wild Hearts.
I saw a 10-second clip of that on my Twitter timeline as I scrolled past, I believe it was Slow Beef, because he was streaming it.
It seems...
That is my current exposure to Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Okay.
Does that game have music?
It has a lot of music. And it is a coin flip as to whether or not you will love or loathe it.
Ooh, that's fun.
Because
what's the dividing line?
You're weird goblins.
Okay. But what do you foresee as the dividing line?
Like it is Sayonara Wild Hearts is basically it's a rail rhythm game, I'll call it.
Okay.
You're pretty much just, like there's lanes, you're collecting hearts, you're moving forward, and it's music videos that are kind of playing throughout this little short narrative. And in the way that you had Outer Wilds as a like potential game of the year,
that's right.
To me, Sayonara Wild Hearts is potentially
really?
a game of the year in a game with the games that came out.
Is the music good?
The music is incredible.
Okay, because that's like step one, right?
The visuals are incredible. The style, design, and the mixture of the two.
But I did see it, and the camera seems very good.
So I talked about it when I went to PAX, and when I got back from PAX, and I called it the game of the show at PAX. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to forget that because that was a bunch of episodes ago. And a lot of people didn't remember that I brought that up because there's also something that was like,
if I remember,
it's not out yet, so you're just like, oh, this is a trailer for
correctly.
something.
The issue that I had with that conversation is that you saw so many games that I kind of forgot the ones at the beginning by the time you got to the end.
Of course, but. Yeah, I played one level of it there and immediately just went, oh, this is going to be really important to me very shortly. Because everything about this is everything I love.
I'm glad you have doomed it sales-wise.
Yeah, and so it dropped, and it's all that perfection and more. I love everything about it. It's so, so, so good. And it's one of those games that is like Rez or Journey.
Okay.
So it is a short, extremely tight, extremely stylish, just
experience.
Polished ass experience.
Yeah.
And it's I can see it as like, oh yeah, it's going to be one of those things where as we move forward in time, I'm going to be talking about it a bunch. Suddenly a vinyl will be on the wall behind me for it.
Yes.
Suddenly a poster might show up somewhere.
Yeah.
And a physical limited edition is going to go up somewhere. And like, it'll just be one of those things where I'm like, yeah, you see a Journey thing, you just cop that.
Yeah.
Right? You see something with Rez, you just fucking cop it. That's it. And like Sayonara Wild Hearts, right in there. Simogo, a team of two.
That is very high praise.
It's extremely high praise. And I think if you play the first level, you will know immediately. You will understand immediately. Okay, this is what's happening here, and you're either in or you're out. Most people, I assume, would be in, and I'm gonna say that like a big part of this praise you're gonna, like, if you want to filter as like it's also a game that is very high woolly aesthetic,
yes,
you can filter that, because like the colors they choose, the way characters move around, the transitions, like the first level has such a mastery of understanding of like how to implement like timing, rhythm, and style all together, because you're this character, right? So you're this character that kind of, you henshin from a normal girl into like this kind of like superhero with like a mask, and then you're surfing on a tarot card as like the narration is going off.
All right.
Queen Latifah is telling you the story. Don't worry about it. And the tarot card, like for example, the Wheel of Fortune, like she flips off of it, and then the wheel on the card starts spinning, and then the card itself turns into a motorcycle, and she backflips onto the motorcycle, and you're driving down this highway, and then eventually you meet up with a crew of rival, like a rival gang, and then like they're in an opposite color, and then you have a motorcycle chase fight through the streets, and then like it builds up and gets more and more intense as the music builds up, and like right as the chorus is about to kick in, like the bridge starts, one of the enemies like taunts at you, and then like light speed dashes into the distance, and her speed dash cracks the road open, so it becomes a giant like open cavern to hell, and you flip off of the bike and then start flying, and then you start like Star Fox flying through the level, and then you get up close to them, and then you're on top of the bikes, and then you're having a fight as you flip and shoot fireballs and deflect and sword fight. And then eventually you charge up a gigantic punch, and you gut one, and they explode, and then you rip their heart, and you steal their heart, and then you have to go after the other two. And like that whole climax is during the first chorus, and then as verse 2 starts, you're going after the second one.
So you're saying the game's 8 minutes long?
The game is an hour and a bit.
Okay.
And then there's other extras you unlock, including like the score for doing it all in one album shot. It's a bunch of different artists kind of putting together, like, again, like these music video levels, but and then there's like a couple of mystery achievements where it's like there's like a list of constellations that all have like a mystery associated with them that you have to go back in and find what they're asking you to do in what section of the game. But in any case, this is really something where like, yeah, if you see what's going on visually and you hear what's happening orally, and it either grabs you by the collar and pulls you in, or kicks you the fuck out. There's no middle ground on it. I fucking loved it, if you can't tell. You know, I can't speak high enough praises about it. And the reason why I also compare it to Journey and Rez is because both of those games, as some of my favorite games of all time, are extremely short and tight experiences. And
Journey's the only one that has any looseness on it with the multiplayer, but that's its own weird.
But it shouldn't take you more than an hour to play Journey.
No, I'm just talking about the actual looseness of the feel.
Oh yeah,
of when there's another person there, but that creates its own thing.
Yeah, but like those comparisons are very important here, because it also should frame your expectations for the length of the game. And those games are perfect examples of quality over quantity to the extreme.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what this is. So Simogo, the 2-person team that made this, and Annapurna put it out, and like I just grabbed it on Switch, but I know it's also on Apple Arcade, which we're going to talk about.
Are we?
But Sayonara Wild Hearts is up there in the pantheon right now. I'm just raving about this game.
Okay, I may or may not check that out.
Yeah.
I basically, I'm at the point where the trailer is now gonna have to.
It'll make or break.
Woo me.
Yeah, it'll make or break. You know. And I know, like I said, the reason why I said like you'll kick it away or pull it in is because it's a music and style thing. So
if you don't care for the music or style,
then that won't be that. Yeah. But like, you know, and as you go further in, of course, levels all switch up and change their flow. And this changing up of the flow is a really like essential thing to how much to why I like it, because like it homages different kinds of games and different types of gameplay. And it's all very simple, you know, it's all very basic while you're just kind of moving through these levels, collecting these hearts. and then like matching the rhythm prompts when the fights are happening. But like, yeah, there's definitely moments where you're like, okay, this is where the res goes. This is where the outrun goes. This is where the this or the that.
Star
or
Fox,
the,
I think.
Yeah, or even, yeah, like I said, and then at one point when you're flying, this time instead of flying in that Star Fox kind of way, you're flying in a Gradius side view shmup kind of way.
Remember last week when, or the week before, when we talked about Astral Chain and I was listing off gameplay elements, and you were like, well, I hope there's still something there for me because it sounds like you just listed everything in the game. For Astral Chain, that was a ridiculous statement. If you're telling me this game is 90 minutes long, then you are actually totally doing that right now.
That what I just described is literally one moment in one stage.
Okay. But you understand my sentiment here.
I understand your sentiment. There's a lot of good, cool stuff. Don't worry about it. It's very good. It's very, very good. And yeah, like, I mean, I don't know.
Do you not know how to segue out because you're like, it's like your brain is just going good.
Well, it's more just like after talking up all that praise.
Yeah.
There's not much else to say because it's just like, go get it. I guess I can talk about how.
Is it, I'm gonna assume I'm just guessing here. It's $20.
I think it was less than that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's less than that.
For games of that nature, that's my heart price. If that sentence makes any sense.
No. Yeah, it's less than that. But I also I guess the video I did of it was funny because playing with Min and Reggie and like just kind of like fucking going through that for the first time and having all those highs and lows hit. Is because there's literally this moments where like I'm playing and like processing what's happening on screen differently from Min
because he's not playing,
and like he's like, no, you have to do this, and I'm like, no, Min, no, you don't have to do that. That's not at all what's happening. And I'm just like gritting my teeth on it. So we have a nice journey through like like I like there's a couple of moments where we just snap. In that brief little journey that are quite fun as well. So over on Woolly Versus, you can check out that video for the game and do consider opening your heart and wallet to it because God, do I want more games like this to exist, and do I want people with this understanding of style to like work on other things. You can make any genre when you understand this type of style, and
you could even make this kind of game about a jerk-ass bird, for example.
Yeah, so you talking about Untitled Goose Game?
I am. I haven't played it yet.
Neither have I.
I'm streaming it tomorrow, but I'm super excited.
Oh, okay.
Because everybody loves it.
So when someone online people were just referring to it as Goose Game.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that the sequel to Duck Game?
Nope.
And then I was like, no, wait, it's Untitled Goose Game.
The name of the game is baffling.
Yeah.
The Japanese title I found out is it's a real title. And it is Here Comes the Mischievous Goose.
That's pretty good.
But there's something about it, like, releasing and me having purchased it as Untitled Goose Game.
I thought you were bringing it up because you took a look at it, but
no, that'll be next week. I'm just excited. But like what you were describing, short, sweet, tight, focused style that applies across a large variety of things. Not just like music is the most obvious because music has its own culture and style to it as well, but you can do all sorts of stupid shit.
Yeah, I saw Too Mellow had a tweet that was like saw clips of Goose Game and like noticed that the honk was actually the sound of a harmonica, and I was like, that's kind of disappointing. I was hoping it would be a honk, but I guess that's a stylistic choice. And then the goose turned around and had a harmonica in its mouth. And he was like, oh. What is that on besides the Epic Game Store?
That is on all consoles of your choice, I believe.
Wonderful. Okay, so I'll be
I definitely know it's on the Switch, because that seems to be where most people are grabbing it.
Yeah, I definitely plan to take a look at that as
well. The Epic Game Store, however, in addition to all that, was like, hey, if you want to get it here, you get it $5 off as well, which is why I picked it up there. Is the control stuff with the money in the docket for the Epic Game Store?
Oh, control is in the game and how much?
Yeah.
No, not
okay.
Really. Because I didn't think that was anything to say. I mean, we've talked about the store.
Yeah,
we've
but
talked about
the main thing is that we now know
the number came out
exactly how much it is. It's $10 million.
But we also know like that number changes because we got another number for who was it that said like 150,000 copies or whatever.
So it's both. There's a flat fee that they're going to give you, which in Control's case was 10 million, but then they also look at your projections and give you a sale guarantee.
Oh, okay.
Which is like, what idiot wouldn't take that deal?
So they probably go. Well, I'm sure they come up with a case by case number.
They go. You are projected to sell 200,000 or whatever.
That is.
We'll guarantee you 200,000.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I just kind of like I just read that and I went, yeah, sure. You know.
They're throwing a lot of money out there.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's a gamble, right?
Yeah.
It's a gamble, and you know you have to imagine that, like on paper, like that would be the way to like fight back for against an otherwise overwhelmingly
monopoly
system.
Yeah.
So, you know, exclusives in the past have been what gets people over from one box to another when it came to the console wars.
Which is dumb here because you're not actually changing the box.
You're just changing the interface and the click for an inferior one, unfortunately.
Did you see that they also killed their roadmap?
They what?
The roadmap for Epic Game Store with the shopping cart and all that. It's gone now. They're not gonna. They delayed the release of like a social features SDK.
Was there an announcement?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see it.
They delayed the release of some SPK for social features by like a year, and the roadmap is just like they took the dates off of it.
Cool.
So just.
Can you tell that I'm tired of talking about the
Epic
Game Store?
I just think the fact that they are also tired of talking about it is kind of hilarious.
Fair. That's fair. Yes, they too.
They don't want to talk about it. They're like, we don't care about the cart. No one cares here.
They're just like, I feel like it's that's been, you know, Paul bunkered into the ground, and like, there's not much else to say.
Okay.
They're going to spend a lot of money. They're going to keep spending it, and they're hoping that the gamble works. That, you know.
Everybody I know who uses that thing just runs every Epic Game Store game through Steam.
It's kind of interesting too how, like, I guess, you know, not to extend it, but it's just like the choices they're going for are obviously a combination of like what's the zeitgeist, what's hot,
indie darling
right now, and like who will accept it,
who's the biggest we can reel in,
right?
Yeah,
you know, so there's a little bit of like the exclusives are kind of like traveling on the curve of like what's just in the public's peripheral for excitement, and I don't know if it is like talking to people about games that are in development right now, like way down the line, but it sounds like it usually pops up around the time that the game is public.
It sounds like it pops up 3 months before release.
That's
every time.
Yes, it doesn't sound like it's something they're talking to anybody about far enough in advance.
Yeah,
you know. So anyway, yeah. So there was that fucking piece of hotness. Wow, strong 2019, strong year.
2019's good.
Strong year.
So I was like, this is a bit of a side, but like a friend of mine just picked up 3 houses, and they were like, which route should I play through first? And we got into an argument as to what route to play through first. And then I'm like, by the way, this argument is stupid because each route is like 100 hours. So that's like a 400-hour game.
Wait, hold on. When people say that game is like approaching 100, that's for one route.
But buddy of mine, Strident, did the on hard classic, and his game timer read 100 by the end of route 1, and then 100 again, or maybe 80 on the end of route 2.
You know what? I just remembered you can run around between missions and talk to people.
Yep.
Okay. All makes sense. It all makes sense.
You can sit there agonizing over who to have lunch with to min-max their stats.
I saw a graphic that said if you go blue, red, yellow, you get the most new content and surprises for yourself.
I don't know about that. I would tell people,
and it was a graphic, so it looked really official. So I believed it.
I would tell people to go red, blue, yellow, red.
Okay.
Red gets 2 roots.
Okay. I guess as long as yellow is not first, then it seems like that would
No,
be...
people say that because yellow sucks.
Huh. Okay.
And everyone in that group is a dork.
Yeah, well...
Also, that group has Lorenz, scum of the earth.
Must be fun to be wrong.
Lorenz is the scum of the earth, and no one will disagree with me.
So, anyway.
Also, yes, it is fun to be wrong sometimes.
So, what happened this week, besides those things, is a little movie called Promare.
Is that in theaters? Where is that? Where's everyone seeing that?
Promare is in theaters here. It's at Quartier Latin.
Okay.
So they're currently airing it. And that's a Trigger movie.
Did you like it?
I enjoyed it.
Was it okay?
It was okay.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the Promare. Okay, for real, that... like when Trigger makes a film, I mean, you remember the last time this happened because you watched what they did with Gurren.
Yeah.
You feel like you got out of watching 26 episodes. The credits are rolling and you feel full.
Yes.
That is like so intense and so just... like, it's doing the Trigger to the moon, you know, like, level of hype escalation, but it's doing it in a 2-hour time period. And, I mean, I don't know if there was ever a consideration to have it be a longer show, but, God, do they really just kind of... They embrace how little time they have.
Uh-huh.
You know, and they enjoy... the fact that it's like, fuck it, man, we're just gonna do hype shit and have fun. Mm-hmm. The characters, I mean, you must have seen the trailer and like some of the shots. Like, there are designs that are just reused characters.
Yes, the main character is just Kamina.
The main character is just a Kamina, but there's other Trigger characters. There's Kill la Kill and Gurren faces all over the place.
Shut up, it's them. Who cares?
And then there's a bunch of other new ones, you know.
The Burninators, are they called?
Yeah, the Burnish.
Okay, because, like, I keep hearing that, and my brain is auto-completing into the Burninators.
Yeah. I mean, there's that one GIF you might have seen of, like, some fucking badass in, like, with, like, a suit, just, like, creating a flame throne, sitting on it.
I have.
And just leaning and looking, and it's like, that fucking style is just oozing all over this thing.
Let me ask you a question about this, because when I saw the trailer, I would describe this movie's art style as eye-searing in its use of color. It is like, ow, my eyes, bright. Like, neon, pastel, etc. Is that actually, like, tough to watch?
It is fantastic, and it feels like the projector is not doing it justice.
Okay.
Like, it feels so powerful and distinct with what they're doing with color and style that you're like, God, like, I can tell this looks prettier than what I'm seeing right here. Mm-hmm. I wish I could get it crisp, like
get it home on your big old HD
get it
TV
on HD on Blu-ray. Yeah, you know, I wish I could go to down to the offices and watch it there, you know, like live off their screen. Like, it is really, really, really powerful in terms of like style and color. One of the biggest noticeable things when you look at it is that there's no black lines. it doesn't use lines.
Yeah.
It uses lines. It doesn't use black lines in the traditional anime way. And like outlines is everything.
Yeah.
Like,
and I like a thick black outline.
Heavy black outlines are strong and powerful.
We were just talking about Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer loves its thick black outlines.
You know, I mean, those eye catches in Gurren have that like really high contrast style. Moments of extreme grit, right? When the
more lines appear.
More lines appear. When I'm thinking specifically of when they zoom in on Shimon's face and like he's like
he
right
turns
after
into a manga.
Right after like he punches the anti-spiral and he's just like, yeah, we'll take care of it. And like all of these things are all like black is such a powerful defining thing. And here they're like, yeah, we're gonna do something else, and they basically went with self-coloring lines. So the outlines on everything are informed. The color of the line is informed by the shape it's touching, and it's done in such a way that like it ends up looking like everything is still really strong. They found a way to make the contrast powerful, but like it doesn't. It just feels like almost like it's just something different.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time describing it because I don't want.
This would probably be way easier if I had watched the movie.
Yeah. You know, there's moments where you're seeing like South Park, where like stylistic choices of things are like flat objects with color on top of each other are just kind of sliding, and then there's other moments where it's like just through the roof with like animating fire. You know, that's obviously a big part of it. Like, I mean, I don't know if you know anything about the story of the premise,
right?
But they're firefighters. Yeah, exactly. They're stylish trigger firefighters.
And then there's the country that's like, we love burning shit.
There's fire people, and then there's firefighters. Yeah. And that's what you get, you know.
And like, who doesn't love to see like an old warehouse burn down?
Sure.
Isn't that awesome?
And in this case, right? So you know how like the thing about mecha is that it's really hard to draw and animate unless you like take a lot of time or use 3D, right?
I would assume so.
So
I don't actually know that, but I assume.
Yeah, because it's very complex.
Just robots,
right? But there is something logical to it that is very clear. It's like in engineering, you know what I mean? Like you can very clearly define this next kind of thing. When the Gurren movie ends up having a final form that is just burning energy.
Yeah, it's just energy.
It's like, please show me the budget counter rolling in the corner, because there's no such there are barely keyframes for this thing. It's just fire,
and it's also melting and like twisting
and exploding, and like it's this awesome ever moving thing, right? So in a trigger movie about fire, you can imagine how much animating of fire they do.
A little bit.
And it's really pretty, and it's very impressive, and it's very stylish and cool. Yeah, man, like, go fucking watch it. Like,
okay.
But then after that, you're gonna need to watch it again, like, on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
To see the work they actually did.
See it all pretty and shit.
What's really cool, too, is that they, the theatrical release has a little interview they do afterwards with Imaishi and the Trigger guys.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so, like, if you stick around, you get to see them just talking a little bit about that process.
That's the kind of thing that most theaters wouldn't fucking put up with.
Yeah, but if you're going to see a Trigger movie on a limited select theater release in North America, chances are you give a shit about that.
Yeah, that's probably
right. I saw it in English. I know it was at Fantasia in Japanese, the original release was that is. So I don't know for sure, but I was told that the characters that look like their counterparts in other shows do share voice actors.
I'm sure. So that seems almost like it would have been designed in the reverse, in that, like, who's willing to jump on board? Okay, you did Kamina, guess the main character's Kamina.
But then again, there's a bunch of there's others too, you know. But ultimately, in any case, that reminds me, by the way, don't know if you saw that little thing that got posted on the Reddit about dubs, and like
I was just thinking about that new weeb.
That little comic.
Oh,
but that little comic and the discussion that came afterwards kind of explained something to me that I feel like I just knew but didn't really actually process. It's a little comic of two people. I don't know what the source is.
Two squirrel girls eating food, and one is the old weeb
and
looking stressed down at a plate of
something
apparently
gross.
4-leaf clovers. It appears to be
something that looks gross,
but it's dubs,
and it says dubs, and then the new weeb is just like looking like almost an
delicious.
Ecstasy, chewing it,
delicious
and then the
dubs.
old weeb is staring at it, going, "What the fuck is happening?" Right? So then the discussion that followed was basically, "Hey, so you know how we felt like about all that from our feelings from 10 years ago and longer?
20
perhaps? Okay, so in that time frame, a bunch of kids were born and then they
watched dubs.
And they grew up. No. They didn't just watch dubs. They grew up and they watched Cartoon Network and Adult Swim.
Yeah.
And that was nothing but. So anime to that group of people is just this English thing that shows up on TV, and I'm like, I have no concept of either of those things. I've been downloading subbed shit forever, and buying the direct releases of those things I love. I have no connection, and I live in a place that doesn't air any of those channels.
Ever. And if it did, they'd be the French dub, which doesn't exist.
So it's like, okay, you're talking about a completely different experience from me.
Yeah,
based on just what you were raised up with.
It's a whole weird thing because it's like
Toonami and shit. What? I don't have Toonami.
Willie, you and I grew up in an era in which whenever you got a dub, it was like a downer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember
4Kids dubs were a punchline.
I remember watching the
4Kids was a joke.
The Evangelion dub, which is terrible. Right? And then later getting the Evangelion sub, and I'm like, oh wow, this is way better. And by the way, to anybody who worked on Eva listening to this, don't worry, it's all the actor who played Shinji's fault.
Sure.
That dude did a bad job.
Punch Mom just made it to 24. So
okay,
we're getting
a fun evening approaches.
Yeah, rip roaring, ready to go.
A confusing nightmare of an evening approaches.
Ready to go. But it really is just like a different entire creature's experience.
Yeah.
Growing up watching TV anime in English by default, and excuse me, and I had one of these moments like literally, I think it was yesterday, because in the middle of a video, it might have been like Ni no Kuni or something I played. And
English voice acting in Ni no Kuni is better than Japanese voice acting.
Yeah, so I didn't know that.
Yep.
Right? So some folks were like, oh, you missed out on some really fun British accents and drip
totally
and drip.
the fucking winner.
So didn't know that.
Right?
Just picked
Why would you have assumed that?
Picked the thing that I prefer that was...
right?
Well, actually, Min picked it. Yeah. And I was like, dude, if you want to go down this route, go ahead. But I don't know what you're going to get.
Of course Min picked it.
But I don't disagree because I prefer it as well, right?
You would prefer it the other way around.
Now I will say this, right? Exactly. There's been examples of that. Persona has clearly opened my eyes to this can be done fantastically.
I really feel like games were the gateway to the dub apocalypse.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. From what I can tell, Danganronpa goes either way, but I just happen
Depending on taste, I guess.
Yeah, and my taste, based on being an old weeb, is going to usually assume that there might be weirdness in the dub, so let me just go with the original. And I want to hear the characters that they cast, or that the creators casted originally. Yeah, as opposed to the adaptation.
So there is one.
It's a weird one.
There is one thing that. English dubs specifically have over Japanese subtitled stuff, or Japanese English subtitled stuff, that I've been, because I'm playing Yakuza games, I'm playing all this shit. There's one time where the dub is just gonna win hands down, and that is when the localization decides to take the extra step like they did in Ni no Kuni and give people a variety of different English voices.
Yeah.
So Japanese has basically Osaka as Texas.
Yep.
And maybe a little bit of North Kyoto kind of thing, and the Tokyo accent for like 99.99999% of like every character that you're ever going to meet, right? And so you'll watch Azumanga Daioh as a really good old example, and everybody has the same accent except for Osaka because she's from Osaka and she has a slight change. Then you watch the English dub and everybody's got pretty average plain American accents, and then Osaka is from fucking hard Texas.
Yes, right.
And so that's the way they used to do it, and that's the basic. Osaka is the South.
Right, Wolfwood, same thing.
Right. But then you get something like Ni no Kuni in which they've gone for an English, UK,
European,
British Isles area. This kid's London. This kid's Northern. This guy is Welsh.
Yeah.
And it is one of the only... There are only two characters that I could think of that have Welsh accents. One is Drippy, and the other is that cat girl from Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
So...
Right? And this guy's got a Russian accent, and this guy's got a Spanish accent, and because all of those countries speak English to a degree now.
Yeah. But like you do get that, but not every game does that.
No.
I mean, were you happy with the Monado?
Yes, I super was.
Yeah.
And so Yakuza 2,
last story as well.
2, 4, etc. There's a guy named Gary Buster Holmes in the Yakuza series, and he works for Majima. And he's a gigantic, tall, huge black guy. But more importantly is that he is clearly an actual English-speaking black guy speaking Japanese with a very thick English accent. And it's like, oh, great.
Yeah.
That's actually really good. Which is weird because then there's a different character who's an American CIA agent who is really obviously a Japanese guy trying to sound like he's Wesker.
Okay.
And it's bad.
Okay.
It's really bad.
Okay.
Right? But it's like, I would love to hear in dubs, what does it sound for this Russian character to have a Russian... Like, think of Ippo. Remember Volg or Vorg, whatever his name was?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it have been nice if he spoke Japanese with a Russian accent?
Yes.
But you never hear that, ever.
Sometimes people do it. Some shows will go to have someone sound particularly foreign with their Japanese, but yeah, it's really rare. It is rare. Like one of the examples that my brain goes to first is Pedro from Excel Saga, where it's like,
I'm totally lost. I have no idea what you're
exactly.
talking about.
It's that far ago. You want to talk about old weebs?
Yeah, that's like
right?
25 years ago, right?
And the important thing too here to note is that it's not just also like old weeb, new weeb, but it's also a difference of like access, because like
now access is infinite.
Well, yeah, but what I mean is that like you could passively just grow up in America, turn on the TV, and watch.
And there's anime on
that anime, right? And that's what you're getting.
That's crazy.
And that is not something that I had and still don't have. And like, because I was into this stuff before that was around,
you had to go acquire it.
You had to go acquire it. You had to seek it out, right? And because of the place I live, I'm still in a place where you have to go seeking it out, right? Even if it's on Crunchyroll, you're still...
I still had to go to Crunchyroll. It's not just passively in the background on a television.
So there is a difference there, and that kind of just stays with me over the years. You know, like someone pointed out, what I brought up Ni no Kuni to bring up wasn't even Ni no Kuni in that and its own voice acting. It was the fact that I always do this, and I know that I do it. I always refer to the Naruto games as Gekito Ninja Taisen.
I have noticed, yeah.
And Naruto Met Hero.
Yep.
Right? And someone was like, you fucking weeb, just call it Ultimate Ninja.
Like, no, because you imported those games years before they came out here.
And Great Ninja Clash, or whatever the fuck it's called. Yeah. I don't even know what it's called.
I don't know either. I do the same thing.
And I'm like, okay, stop, hold on.
I remember the day you brought No Ultimate Hero 3 to the fucking club space. That was like 5 years before that game came out in English.
Dude, like, people...
Of course that's the name that burnt into your head.
Like, I don't know how to explain this to people without fully just showing you that, like, this is an audio podcast, but I'm holding up, I imported all 4 of these games in Japanese.
That third and fourth one are really good.
I don't even know what they're called in English. Because
why would you have bought the English version?
And that was years later, when
the time for you of that game was over.
It was already, you know what I mean? Like, when this started airing on TV and it became a big deal, like, I was way past that at this point.
Because the games were following the English release of the anime.
Exactly, right? So the English, the anime gets dubbed, it comes on TV, and then they put these games out.
Let's port that 3 old GameCube game.
On whatever, and then that's when, like, so that's the context that this person has for it, or,
Live in the fast lane, new weebs.
And I'm just like, I literally don't know what, like, I only imported and played this, you know? I don't think my age lines up.
Are you a wee boomer?
I don't think my age lines up with the boomer age. And
no, Wooly, I have bad news for you. As people have been calling me boomer many times in the past 6 months, I have bad news. Boomer has been expanded from my dad, who is totally a baby boomer. He's an old man. He's a total boomer. I love my dad. He's such a doofus. It's been expanded to old man. Like, you know, like, but whatever old weeb,
yeah,
right? No, it's just boomer now. We're all boomers now.
So boomers and their shitty entitlement, they fucked up so hard
that now any shitty old entitlement
is
now boomer forever.
Boomer, gotcha. Okay.
You can use it on anybody.
Right.
You can tell kids that they're boomers if they're stupid.
Okay. I mean, it's complete nonsense because there is a hard locked time and year for when you are no longer a boomer.
Wooly, is language descriptive or proscriptive?
I'm not a grammarian.
Yeah, you're not. You know what grammarian is? That's a boomer word. You mean word person.
I'm not a linguist either.
Yeah.
But anyway,
language changes over time, man.
Connotation or denotation.
Yeah. That's basically exactly the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I actually don't know what that one means. Because I don't know what denotation means.
So I don't have the English versions of these games in my brain. I don't even have the box shape of the English ones because the box I'm used to is a sleeve off of a small plastic GameCube.
Yeah, I like the Japanese GameCube boxes, actually.
Right? So it's like, I'm going to talk about the game I played. I'm going to talk about that Naruto game. I'm going to say the name of the one I purchased I played all the time in.
New weebs.
You know, I had to fucking memorize the menus and based on what the characters would say.
I remember when you'd bring that over, if you walked away, we wouldn't be able to play matches because, like...
we
didn't know how to pick the menus.
You know? I mean, if you just select it, you hear Sakura go, like, Vases Modo, you know?
That's too difficult. I don't want to use my ears.
Anyway, so that is the idea of the anime just coming at you passively in English is something that I knew. Of course I knew, but I don't process it as like, right, as a generation of people grew up and that was their world.
Yeah, because we're in that time period where there's a whole generation of people that grew up in a stupid way that wasn't like ours.
And what, of course, makes it difficult is when anybody wants to minimize and listen to whatever you're playing, and you pick Japanese, then, of course, that's...
I have started playing exclusively dubs on my Twitch channel because I forget what it was. I was playing something in Japanese, and people were just like, dude... I might as well fucking leave.
I want to minimize it and not... I just want to listen to a podcast right now.
I'm doing something on my other screen, and I'm looking over, but I can't follow this for shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck. Is Sekiro. That's what it was.
Yeah. Sekiro, yeah, that has a bunch... Well, in any case, I get it. I just... If it's a game that I've already played, then it's like, yeah, I probably won't feel two ways about it. But if it's a game where, like, I might recognize certain voice actors or, like, I want to hear really good performances of certain, you know?
Yeah.
Then I'm going to be like, damn it. Like, I really do wish I could hear the Japanese.
On the other hand...
Based on my upbringing, I have a preference.
Yeah, and on the other hand, as I dipped my toe into the new weeb era with Persona 3 and 4, like back when those kind of came out, like if you're telling me Terra Platt's going to be kind of bitchy in the game, then that fucking dub is a go, and you will never change my mind.
Yeah, which is fine. Totally makes sense there. But otherwise now, are you then content? Like, it's basically you're just like, okay, so I'm going to personally enjoy this experience a bit less because I have to go this way, but it will aid in the minimization
of your frustration.
Of your content.
Oh, yes.
Of your literal window. You know, like what do you kind of do there, especially if it's your first time playing the game and you want to experience it, you know, in this way. It's a toughie. And of course, right? There's always the situations where you don't know what you're gonna get, and it's like a Ni no Kuni thing where I'm like, well, I'm gonna fall back on my preference.
Yeah,
and it turns out that you, like you mentioned, oh well, that was a specific case of this game doing it very differently.
So the only way you would have known that is because they actually did like a bunch of pre-release stuff talking about like how much work went into the dub, and we're showing the dub off. And the reviews came out and we're like, wow, this dub. But like, since that game is now 6 years, like, you know,
or brand new, because it's been remastered.
No, but you know what I mean. Like that game's like release cycle is ages past. Like, why would that be coming up now? Like it's just a footnote. It's just a bullet point now.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know that going to see Promare, that it was the English dubbed version.
So you sat down and they started going, "Hey, it's me," and you were like, "Oh,
a little bit." Especially
that's gross. You're a bad person.
Because when Kamina pops up and I'm like, "There he is," and then he starts talking, and I go, "I don't know if that's the voice actor or not."
I'm gonna put my penis back.
So
in my pants.
that homage is partially lost on me, not the homage obviously, but like that reference, if the voice is the same as well, and then the same for the other characters that are like, is that the same voice?
You take your sandals off and you put the samurai sword down on the ground and you put your penis back in your pants. You're like, I guess I'll watch this movie in English.
Did you watch Gurren in English?
No, I did not.
So when you...
I actually very much dislike the Gurren dub.
Okay, so when you see... Or did you watch Kill la Kill in English?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
It came out way after I...
So when those characters pop up, you're not going to know.
Who cares?
Yeah, it's just... I care. If it's a character that I recognize... Hold on, wait, no.
Stop, that's stupid.
I care. Because if it's something... If it's a part of what they're doing, or they intentionally cast the same person in a character that looks like another character, and
Wooly, they cast the same people in everything constantly. What are you talking about?
Well, in this case, it's a direct reference, though.
Is it? Or is it they had the same person on staff because they work with them all the time?
No, because the identical staff is not the identical staff of both of those shows.
Are they identical?
They're not completely identical, no. So... in this case, when the character looks like a person and you go, oh, it's like that person in like almost like an alternate reality kind of way, and then they have the same voice, then like, yeah, they're going for something intentional.
Well, then
there.
I guess before you went to see that, you should have watched the Gurren
well,
dub.
yeah, okay, all right, great, sure.
I don't know what to say, like...
The point is...
You're just mad because you didn't get to hear Norio Wakamoto, and he was totally there. He was the villain, and it was going to be Norio Wakamoto.
It's probably not even there.
Yeah, I know. And you'd be like, you can't come...
As if you wouldn't be...
Tell all your friends, oh man, I really like the part when Norio Wakamoto said Muruiwa or whatever. Oh man, my penis.
Yeah, and then you're not doing the same for Akio Otsuka? The amount of times that you fucking went in on how much you love his shit?
I haven't. I mentioned that he's there and that he's been the voice of Snake. He has a really distinctive voice.
And you literally, I remember you specifically being like, oh man, there he is. In something we were watching.
No. I don't go, oh man, there he is, like I'm excited. I go, oh man, there he is. It's so easy to pick him out. His voice is so distinctive. And I think that's kind of a bummer. To hear the same 10 actors over and over and over and over. I have the total opposite view of this as you do. I don't want to hear the same voice in every single thing, except for maybe Tara Platt. But
why though? Because you like it, right? If you like it, you want to hear it.
Well, no, because I think she does the best, like, annoyed, bitchy, like, voice. But, like, Yuri Lowenthal, I wish more, like, voice directors gave him the opportunity to vary up his voice and pitch at all.
I feel that way about Hollywood in a lot of cases because, like, I very much think that you can give actors a chance to be good in things, and you don't necessarily. But of course, like the counter argument, I believe there was what was it? There was a video where someone was kind of explaining that like there's like 20 names that draw.
Yeah,
and that's the reason why.
And they draw by default.
Yes, so it's not even about anything besides that recognition. Like you don't realize how important that is in whatever production's case, and like so I super agree in that. Like I think most things you should definitely just cast according to the talent.
Yeah,
you know,
but not for your superior weeb shit.
No, I'm saying but there's nothing wrong with grabbing super talented people and also casting them as well. I think you can do both. They're not mutually exclusive goals or outcomes.
I am indifferent to more often than not bummed out when I meet a new cast of characters and I already know who all of them are.
When you know who all of them are, I know what you mean. I know what you mean there.
It is really, really frustrating.
I think video games have a particular thing too with like, you know, the Nolans and the Troys that like depending on
Nolan has so much range. He has the most range of any voice actor I can think of, and they all tell him to do the Drake voice.
Right.
It's so fucking awful.
But you definitely can have, like, a mixture of casting that is fresh, new talent and stuff that works if you have a particular image or a sound in your head for a certain person or a certain character, you know? Especially if you designed the character to sound that way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Right? I want you to stop and picture in your head, I'm glad you closed your eyes for this, J. Jonah Jameson talking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
All right.
And you're telling me is there any other choice at this point in time?
There's two. There's, I forget his name, but he's the guy who plays Jonah in all the movies. Do you remember his name? He's the Law and Order man.
Fucking.
What the fuck's that guy's
J.K.
name?
Simmons.
J.K. Simmons, yeah. There's J.K. Simmons, and then there's the guy who did the 60s cartoon voice.
Okay, and now the 60s cartoon voice happens to be more in our brains because of the stupid fucking Twitch clips.
No, I watched that, dude. I watched all of it as a kid, over and over. That shit cracked me the fuck up.
There shouldn't be any woman in this world, only children and men.
Well, okay, Jonah. Whatever you say.
But, like, at the moment, at this point in time...
This is the J.K. Simmons.
It's J.K. Simmons.
That's right.
There's no other option.
That's correct.
And if you heard another option, what the fuck are you doing?
You're
casting? So in a situation like that, is it wrong that they cast the voice that you need for this character?
Those are different characters.
But this is what I'm getting at. So when I'm saying when you have a full cast, when you have a character like that, there's nothing wrong with going, well, fucking get JK. What are we going to do, not get J.K. Simmons? That's insane. You know? And you can have a character like that cast for someone that like has a perfect thing for it, that is definitely someone that's known.
Yeah.
And then you can have other characters that are more new and can definitely establish themselves that can be other things. You know? You can definitely do both. And I agree with the point that, like...
I just think it's silly that you went to a dub and sat down and were like, oh, no, it's dub. Because you couldn't hear the same voice actors playing the same role that you already heard.
Well, because I wanted to know if... I wasn't sure if they cast them or not, and if that was the case.
But the answer to that question is no, they didn't, because you were watching the dub.
In that case... But I also really enjoy Kamina's voice actor, and I like hearing his work, so I would have enjoyed that if that were what I was hearing. Like, I don't get why it's like... I like a thing, and I'd like to hear the thing that I like, and then I'm dumb for wanting to hear the thing I like.
I don't know. I don't.
I mean, it's not. I understand you have a feeling about it, but if there's a thing that I enjoy,
feel kind of sad that you did, like the poor guy who did the. I don't know the character's name.
Gallo.
Gallo.
It was good.
Yeah, right.
It was fine. It was totally.
That was de facto tinged with like boner killing sadness, because it wasn't the guy you already knew.
Okay, well now you're saying boner killing sadness.
Yeah, your boner got killed,
which is the furthest possible thing.
Are you sure?
From what I said.
Because I saw the twinkle in your eye of sadness as you described this, and all I can think of is a deflating erection.
You know what? There we go. That's fine. You can... You know,
it's fun to say what I just said. Yes! Don't tell me that it wasn't fun to say.
Oh, of course. But at the end of the day, like, if I like the thing, then I like the thing. And it's not a problem that it's not there. But it was definitely just like, fuck. I thought I was going into the subs version because I thought I was gonna hear the voice actors. Possibly.
Was it not like labeled anywhere what language it would be in?
No,
which is extra weird because we're here where you would expect it.
I didn't buy the tickets. My friend bought the tickets.
Okay.
And I just walked in and sat down.
I have a dumb question. I know it's been said before. I'm supposed to pronounce it Promare, not Promare.
It's not Promare.
Okay, it's Promare.
Yes, Promare.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yes.
That's just. I just don't want. I really don't want to seem dumb talking about this.
Well, guess what? Because it's Japanese, you can't possibly know.
Yeah, I know.
Until you hear someone say it.
No, it's fine.
But it doesn't matter because if you say it and you take a guess, Promare, you're a moron.
Yeah, well, it's the weeaboo way, Wooly. You gotta fucking ballpark this stupid shit. You gotta say Iga and have that dumb motherfucker go crazy. Because you're referring to a grocery store as Iga.
Tell us more about Yakuza.
No, it's Yakuza. Yakuza. Oh, dude. What was it that Paige lost her mind at? It made her so crazy. We watched the romantic comedy, Ore Monogatari. By the way, Monogatari in your anime title, fuck off. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Well, are you gonna say Monogatari or not?
No, I'm talking about is it Nisei Monogatari, Ore Monogatari, whatever, right? But
there's a fucking show that's Kareshi Kano Joe, like it just, and people just, it's fucking Karikano. Shut up.
Yeah.
Right.
But the deal is that the main female love interest is a girl named Yamato. But we were watching it, and every time I wanted to talk about it, I'm like, "Oh man, I really like how Yamato made him those cakes."
Yeah.
And she'd be like, "What?" I'd be like, "Yamato." And you know when you're doing that thing and you see the vein just start to crawl up? She's like, "Pat, it's you fucking stupid Canadian fuck. It's Yamato." I'm like, "That's what I said. Yamato. Obviously, like a yam. Yamato."
So, Persona voice acting.
Yeah. Persona 5 voice acting, somebody made a bad decision.
Yep.
And I think it's the voice director from Atlas.
Amazing voice work. Strange pronunciations
constantly.
But
I feel like they were told to say them as Americans reading them off a page, not knowing how to pronounce them. Because we know those voice actors know how to pronounce their own names.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's the weirdest ever.
And it's also not the first time these names have existed in, like...
I've heard the correct pronunciation of some of those words come out of those actors' mouths.
Yeah.
Like, I know they know.
But but at the same time, like, there's certain things out there where, like, I myself will just jump between one or the other because whatever.
Oh yeah, I was watching a special last night that I think Wired does, where they ask experts to break down things, and there's a guy who does dialects. And one of the things that he points out is that people are inconsistent in their pronunciations of certain sounds, words, people, place names, etc.
I definitely am.
Very much.
There are words, especially being Canadian, where like you're dealing in some cases.
There's a mélange of sounds.
Exactly. Right. I'm glad you used that word. There's you know, and there's a lot. There's spellings that change according to whether or not American you speaking to Americans or like.
Hey, by the way, Armor has a U, dumb,
and Neighbor has a U.
Sure does, Neighbor.
And I brought up before the fact that like you know, me like being surrounded by French Canadians
causes the Claude Gascoignes of the world.
There is a no, but I mean literally recording with them.
Oh yes,
causes a
in
really
particular Reggie, for example, right?
Yeah, a very interesting contrast where it's just like, yeah, this is someone whose literal English is not their first language, and for Min, in his case, it's his third.
What's the second?
French.
Yeah, French. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
He speaks French, Vietnamese, and then English. You know, so it's there's all kinds of weird stuff out there. But like, I referred earlier to Shimon. I will the next time refer to Simon.
Yep.
And that's just gonna happen.
And that's because I started with Simon, and then people just beat me down with the Shimon shit over time.
Yep. Totally.
Beat me the fuck down.
100%.
I am really tired of that argument.
Yep.
So sometimes I just say it the wrong way just so people shut the fuck up.
It's like, remember that time when, like, you heard the character say Shimon?
I do.
But then the subtitle said Simon?
And I remember this might be...
Remember that?
This might be the stupidest internal thought about anime subbing and dubbing that one could ever have. Because those were fan dubs. Remember? Right?
Fan subs.
Fan subs, right. Fan subs. Right, and that's how you ended up with Ritner Village instead of Litana Village or whatever.
Yep.
And I remember thinking, wow, the voice actor really fucked up the name they were given based on the fact that the fan sub said Simon. I was like, wow, the voiceover guy really botched it, huh? In hindsight, that's a stupid thought. That's a stupid thought.
What did the official subs say?
I don't know.
Pretty sure they still say Simon.
Let's put it to the chat while we talk about something. What is the official sub?
I'm pretty sure they still say Simon. Simon. Like that's the thing. So
I think we're all going to have some hard ass cognitive dissonance about this in March of next year, when all the English voice acted characters are going, yo, Aerith, stop it. And it's just like clashing very hard internally with 15 plus years of, I know what that character's name is.
Well, so this is where it really breaks down, because everyone has very strong opinions one way or the other, but what it really comes down to is how much do you trust a non-native speaker when pronouncing a non-native name in Japanese as the official canon.
So,
right? And if you think that what is said is what it officially is, and that's the end of the story.
That's how you end up with Gatsu.
That's how you end up with Gatsu, certainly, right? Or you go with what's intended.
I have had a different view of this for a long time, and I will take a different Final Fantasy character, Tara Branford, who in the Japanese version is named Tina, right? Tara is a better name. I don't care that she's actually Tina.
Okay.
Tara is better.
I will see you that, and I will raise you Avdol can fuck off.
It's not great.
Forever.
It's not good.
When we all know that Abdul is a real name.
It's obviously supposed to be Abdul.
And it's not just like Abdul is a real name. It's Paula Abdul, you stupid fuck.
It's very clear.
So if you're coming and saying, nah, it's Avdol, though, actually...
not a real name, by the way?
Actually, fuck off.
Yeah.
Right? That's the point where I'm like, I don't give a shit what you think. It's very clear what the reference is.
And also,
here, right?
when we move to Aerith, like, it becomes clear that Tara and Tina and Aerith and Aerith is supposed to be, like, the Earth because of the planet.
Is it?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Dude, Aerith.
I never put that together. But I never put together that Earth was what they were going for there.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
But, like, Aerith sounds... like, putting a TH at the end of a fucking name sucks. It's unpleasant to say.
Very much so. Is there any normal English names that end in TH? Do you know anybody?
Okay. Normal English names, I don't know. There's a lot of stupid fucking idiots that are naming their kids.
Don't call him Keith.
Bradany or what?
Keith is probably the most normal one. Gareth. Yeah, fuck yeah, Gareth.
Fuck Gareth.
I don't know any Gareths.
Yes, you do. You just call him Googly because you hate saying Gareth.
Oh, but that's internet people.
You know him. What the fuck?
Okay.
But my point is that you go out of your way not to say Gareth.
I haven't had a vocal conversation with Googly Gareth.
Yeah,
it hasn't been cemented in this way.
But when you describe him, do you say, "Oh yeah, my buddy Gareth," or do you say, "Oh yeah, Googly"?
It's Googly.
Yeah, because fuck th sounds at the end of words. It sucks.
Keith is probably the one that's the most normalified.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hey, there you go. Abdul, Tina, strong opinions. Everyone's got strong opinions. It just sounds right or it doesn't. I don't know, but it's inconsistent, and that is true.
I remember pissing off my French teacher so bad because she was like, "Why are you saying it like that in my grade 9 French class?"
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that sounds better, and she's like, "Well, that's wrong." I'm like, "But it sounds better." And then another kid was like, "Yeah, it sounds better that way." She's like, "It's wrong. That is not how you say it." And then I was like, I'm gonna keep saying it how I want to say it.
Yeah. There was something there's one that came up recently where I switch it up every time I say it in the middle of the same conversation even.
Yeah, I do that as well. And people point out and you're like, I guess I'm stupid.
No, it's one of those two.
I guess my brain is dumb.
I will always say automata and automata interchangeably.
Depending on how hard you think about it at the moment.
Do I hit a speed bump? Then it's automata. If I'm going off without thinking, it's automata.
And you know what I ended up doing when I streamed it? You know what my solution to that was? Because I got so annoyed by it, was that I just started calling it automatic tomatoes every time.
To make the joke, don't have to deal with it.
I didn't have to deal with it anymore.
Okay, is it Fooly Cooly or Furry Curry?
It's FLCL.
Or is it FLCL?
If we're gonna sit down right here and be like, okay, what's it? It's
what is it?
So that's extra fucking baffling because in the English dub they say both interchangeably.
Exactly. So what is it? What are you gonna get mad at?
I'm gonna get mad at I need to watch Golden Boy. I just saw a clip of Golden Boy just now on the way over here.
Yeah.
That dub is incredible.
Yeah. And everyone who's typing in all caps, fight amongst yourselves.
Yeah, fight yourselves, dumb
Battle to the death.
See, we can trick the new weebs because they're young. They don't know about the old weeb wars.
Yeah. It's a fucking... There's no right answer unless there's a right answer.
And then sometimes even the right answer is not the one that everyone decides to go with, because there are creators that come out and go, it's pronounced like this, and then everyone goes, that's stupid. I know many, many people who will fight Hironobu Sakaguchi on Tidus.
I know? Or Eno?
It's Eno. That I don't think anybody's fighting over that one.
Okay. But then what if the announcer of the game says...
That's right.
What if the announcer of the game...
Oh my god.
...says Aegis?
And then the character says Aegis.
What if the announcer of the game... oh god, what was the other one? Fuck me. What if the announcer of the game says how wrong?
That's the one.
How wrong?
It's Tekken 7?
Whichever, right? Then what?
I don't know.
Kikisuke? Kai Kisuke? What if the game itself says something else? Ruerdi, you see
how wrong being the in-game pronunciation of a character
is
name
hilarious.
Hwoarang, and it's obviously Hwoarang, and other characters talk to him and say Hwoarang. It's a Korean name. It's not hard to pronounce in English.
But that's but that's the perfect example of what I'm talking about. Where,
somebody...
Like, anybody who wants to die on that hill can point to an in-game asset.
I have one
to tell you to go fuck yourself.
I have one that is like 20 years old that somebody just pointed out. How do you pronounce Zangief?
Oh, Zangief or
Zangief? Do you pronounce it Zangief? Do you pronounce it Zangief?
Yeah, you said
Zangief. Zangief.
Yeah.
The announcers in the games pronounce it all sorts of different fucking ways.
It's the mouth sounds that my cousin made when the game came home and we played it as kids. That's the sounds.
And then you just skip it and you just call them Geef.
But then the same mouth sounds that came from my cousin were all you can and tuk 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 duken.
Really?
And Maduken.
Your cousin's a fucking idiot.
And they don't want to fucking know Japanese. Oh, you figured out that it was Tatsumaki Senpu Kyaku?
I knew that it wasn't
the first
whatever
time?
the fuck you just said.
So no, so basically whenever like when I was like fucking whatever like 6 or whatever, we did be like Maduken and like knock you to the floor and be like, oh, you get.
Actually, no, because I remember I played Street Fighter.
Everyone said all you can.
I remember playing Street Fighter 2 after I played Sonic 2. And Sonic 2 was the first game that I remember seeing the credits for. And I went, and my dad happened to be next to me at the time. And I went, Dad, because I was like 7. I'm like, I don't understand. Are these the people's names? They look so weird. And he's like, oh yeah, because they're Japanese names. I'm like, what? What's Japan? Like, I literally didn't know it was a country.
Okay.
And he's like, oh yeah, this is Japanese. And then I like did 1 sec. I looked it up in an encyclopedia and discovered that there was a different language involved. And then so when I encountered that, it was like, oh, that's part of a language I don't speak as a child.
Yeah, so you do the next best thing.
So what was your excuse? Dumb woolly child?
The thing that literally every other video gamer on the planet did, which was repeat the sounds you thought you heard, which are
the only game I ever remember doing that with was
I'd like some pound cake is a joke that everyone understands. If nobody understood that joke, no one would be laughing at it.
Is that why that joke is?
You're a fucking
no, because I saw that in a Newgrounds animation a while ago, and I'm like, oh,
I don't get it.
No, I got it. I'm like, oh, that sounds like that, but people said that.
The whole gibberish fighting game noises joke.
The only time I did that was for Mortal Kombat because it was gibberish.
Anyway,
and you could tell it was gibberish when Raiden came across the screen.
It was gibberish when Raiden came flying across the screen. Yes, it was. But in Street Fighter, everyone just yelled out the thing they thought they heard. Looks like
I'm the oldest weeb of all, Wooly.
You know what the clearest, crispest, never mistaken sound was in that game?
What's that?
Tiger!
Yeah.
There's no mistaking that.
And also, you heard it a lot. So,
yes.
So you had plenty of practice.
It was very clear what that was. So in a game where you're like, oh yeah, that guy's saying tiger, and then he's saying tiger uppercut, clearly the other sounds could have been clearer if they wanted them to be, but they are what they are. So you're getting ha 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 yatta. Simple.
Yeah.
Not that confusing.
I'd be like, I don't know what that is.
Tatsumaki Senpu Kyaku. Get the fuck out of here. You're hearing that.
No, I didn't. You're not listening to me.
No, I'm not saying you are. I'm saying anybody is actually reading into that. And
no, of course not.
You know?
I'd be like, I don't know what the fuck he's saying, but I definitely did go, what'd you say? Kaku?
Much strength, but don't forget, a guy like you all over the board.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
You haven't blocked the blur before you beat me. Try again, kiddo.
Oh, I love that shit.
I tuk tukin.
That's wrong.
Yep. It's probably printed in a Game Pro. I bet you I can find an old ass game magazine that literally has Maduken or
I don't get that.
All you can in it.
There's clearly a ha at the beginning of that.
In fact, I feel like I'm remembering a joke somewhere where someone made a reference to like all you can eat, like Ken's all you can eat barbecue or something like that in a dumb magazine. That's
dumb.
That's coming back to me from some old magazine, probably a Game Pro at the time, if not an EGM.
As long as you're not sitting there playing the Street Fighter going, all I can hear fucking Ryusei is bar 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 bar, then you're good. No,
No.
not doing it for you.
No.
Okay, so that's a bit of a Roman history joke.
Okay.
Because you know the word barbarian?
Mm-hmm.
That is in reference to the fact that the Germanic tribes, when described by Romans, would be like, oh, they just fucking talk their dumb gibberish, bar, 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 bar.
Right. Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
So that's what barbarian means. It means that the language you're hearing is like, like whatever.
Yeah.
But in this case, it was like Proto-English, Proto-German.
It's as if you were to take any of, like, it's as if you were to say, oh yeah, those are the Borkians.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The
right.
Borkers are coming.
And then fast forward a couple hundred years and it becomes natural language.
Yeah.
Speaking of barbarians, I heard the funniest thing. Now, we can count, if we had like a penny for every time someone recommended Vinland Saga, right? Like,
I would have 4 pennies.
Okay, I would have many dollars.
Okay.
Obviously, this is a pretty good thing.
And I threw those pennies away.
Obviously, this is probably a pretty good thing that's worth checking out.
Yeah,
well,
sure.
So that's understood. It's just a matter of I just haven't.
Is it about the Borkers?
Haven't sat down yet, and whatever. But I know, right? But one of the funniest things that I was talking to a friend about yesterday was about how you brought up that super good show that's based on this it's an old Viking time frame. Mm-hmm. But there's a love interest in the show that just acts supremely Japanese.
Of course.
Apparently, and it is just kind of that's the one filter that just has to get
get over there,
airlifted, and then put through the time portal, and then dropped into the past. And I just go, oh.
I don't understand why Borkhime won't make my lunch.
Viking Senpai. And I guess I just...
Viking Senpai and Borkhime.
And I it's one of those bits where I'm it got me thinking about the topic of just yeah, but if it's not this type of character, then how will you know it's a love interest?
There are certain cultural tropes that you just jam in there, no matter how inappropriate it is.
You know, and you're but you could just make it not Japanese, but your frame of reference is that. So I get it, but I also appreciate when something comes along like Monster.
Yeah.
Where the main character is definitely Japanese.
But he's a Japanese guy who's been immigrated to Germany for 20 years
and
or something.
As they travel across Europe.
And
it's Europe.
It's 99.9% Germans and Czechs.
There's no Japan field emanating from the main character.
Yeah, the main
as he moves across Europe.
The main character in Monster happens to be Dr. Tenma and is from Japan. But he went to university in Munich, I think,
or whatever,
or something, and he just happens to be a Japanese character.
And other people, as you travel that world, are very much not Japanese.
In more than
I was I like that.
The more you watch, and all the sidekicks are all German.
Because it's if you're gonna pick a period piece and a location, you want to do that.
When I think
embrace
back,
that part of it.
I think back on Monster, you look at it and the flow of the structure of the story, and it's Tenma, as a Japanese man who's a doctor, has 2 things that would that his being a Japanese guy helps in the story. One, he is on the run for the vast majority of the story, and a Japanese guy with his build and height and look is going to be more distinctive than a German character in the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. And 2, part of the story is his issues struggling with the use of violence, as he is a total pacifist doctor.
Yeah.
Which makes sense for somebody coming out of 1970s, 80s, post-war Japan, etc.
Yeah.
And he's never held a gun, and he, all these things.
Yeah. It's a much more cromulent setting.
It is a much more cromulent setting.
Yeah. So I enjoy that when the field is not emanating off of
You did that on purpose, I assume.
Oh, whatever.
You know it's a word now?
Yeah. Totally.
You know what also freaked me out about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yoink
Mm-hmm.
or yoinks.
Mm-hmm.
It came from that also.
Yeah, but they've been I mean, dough was entered like years ago. Like they've been doing that for a while now. So that's, you know. Anyway, let's take a quick word from our sponsor.
Let's do that.
This week, the podcast is sponsored by Mack Weldon.
Hey, Mac, what up?
Their mission statement is simple: smartly designed clothes.
There's an S at the end, so it's okay.
Clothes.
Garments.
Smartly designed shopping that's easy and convenient. Basically, Mack Weldon is better than whatever you're wearing right now.
But I like my anime shirt.
Well, you look down at what you're wearing right now and realize that Mack Weldon is better than that.
That is very likely true.
Premium men's essential brand that believes in smart design and premium fabrics. Basically, you know when you put on a shirt and you go, man, that feels really good. I like that shirt.
Yes.
And then you start to prefer wearing that shirt more than the other shirts. That's what this is. The stuff that feels good where you're like, hey, that's pretty stylish and it works, but also, yay.
You know when you put on a shirt and it chafes your nipples and you're like, this is a bad shirt? The opposite of that feeling.
I've never had that feeling.
You've never had that?
Not once in my life have I ever had that
I've worn
feeling.
2 shirts that hurt my nipples, and it was terrible.
I hear about that. People talk about that when running and doing sporting activities. I've never had that.
Do you just have inverted nipples that protect you from bad fabrics?
Yes.
All right.
They are inverted.
Well, if you didn't have inverted nipples that aren't protected from bad fabrics...
You would want good quality fabrics.
Therefore...
You'd want Mack Weldon. So, in particular, it also makes the online shopping to acquire these high-quality garments very simple and easy.
How easy? Like, what do you do?
Well, I can tell you from personal experience. You go on the website, you click the button, and that's it.
That's pretty much it. Huh?
It took like barely 4 minutes to order a couple shirts.
That's okay. That's good.
And
that'll give me plenty of time to go back to yelling at people about dubs.
Yeah, because you don't have time to worry about, like, you just want the good quality. You want it coming straight to your door. You don't have time to go out and clothes shop. When
becoming hyper aware of the pronunciation of words right now,
because this is the nature of the topic of this podcast.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Also a big deal is, of course, the fact that if you head to MackWeldon.com and enter promo code SuperBeast, you can get 20% off your first order.
20% is pretty good.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal for good quality, shipped right to your door. The whole deal, solid. Simple clothing. 20% off your first order. You want to head on down to MackWeldon.com and enter the promo code SuperBeast. And yeah, reconsider. Look in the mirror and reconsider, because you could be wearing better feeling, better looking, smarter clothing. Thanks, Mack Weldon.
Thank you, Mack Weldon.
The podcast is also sponsored by Skillshare.
Skillshare, what up, man?
So,
what's happening with you, Skillshare?
Well, it's pretty simple, actually. Skillshare, it's an online learning community with thousands of classes covering dozens of creative and entrepreneurial skills. So, with a premium membership, you jump on and you get unlimited access. You can join all the classes. You can join communities that are perfect for what you're looking for. If you want to fuel your curiosity, creativity, or your career, Skillshare is the perfect place to thrive and learn.
I should totally learn how to make Photoshop images.
Do you not know how?
I have no idea. Every layout that shows up is made by somebody else.
It's pretty simple.
I don't know how to do it.
Then you should use Skillshare.
I probably really should.
I would not be surprised if someone could help you in your infinite naivete.
I didn't go to art school like the rest of you guys.
I mean, I barely did.
Well, you went enough to know how to use Photoshop.
I got a piece of paper.
Yeah.
But if I could have used Skillshare.
Yeah.
It would have helped me just as much, probably. It's also incredibly affordable, especially when compared to pricey in-person classes and workshops. Annual subscription for less than $10 a month. So because Skillshare is sponsoring the podcast, you can sign up to get a 2-month free trial.
2 months?
Yeah.
That's all right. You can learn a bunch of stuff in 2 months.
Yeah, you want to head on over to skl.sh/roosterteeth.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, that's skl.sh/roosterteeth to get a 2-month free trial. Thanks, Skillshare.
Thank you, Skillshare.
And last,
but not least,
certainly not least, the podcast is sponsored by the good old team down at Audible.
Hey, Audible, what's up? You like trees. I know this. We've talked about how you love trees.
Audible, saving the world.
One audiobook at a time.
One audiobook at a time. How, you might ask? Well, for those who are late to the bit.
The multiple year long
for those who are late to the gimmick, you see, books are garbage and you need to stop reading them.
Yeah, are you reading a book? Throw that away, dumbass.
You know all those times when those people decided that we need to round up all those books and make a big old fire?
What? Wait. Wait.
Now, I'm not saying
what
that was the right move.
I think we should try a different bit.
But okay. There's a better way to use your time while not sacrificing paper, because you cut your fingers on it and then you spill your coffee on it and then it gets all creased and it stops being perfect.
Yeah.
And you know when you open up a new book for the first time and you hear that of the paper opening, yeah, that book's no longer fresh. It's imperfect forever.
There are dust spores that shoot into your brain when that happens.
Like, you've now ruined that cover page.
Yeah.
And then the moment you turn the first page over, that's ruined too. Put it back down. You can't even, books are garbage.
Get out.
What you want is audiobooks.
Yeah, audiobooks good.
It's the future. Audible is the best place to start listening. There's so many inspiring voices from compelling stories. New experiences, new ways of thinking. Audible is out there with just about anything.
They got pretty much everything.
And you can have it inserted into your brain, perfect quality the whole time.
Yeah.
You never ruin it by reading it like a physical thing.
You know what? I just realized this is actually a new addition to the bit that I have never considered once. There's a genuine day-to-day flat advantage to an audiobook over a regular book. Most of the reading or audiobook listening that I have done is out of the house, right? Reading stuff or learning stuff is an out-of-the-house travel activity for Pat, right? When you're reading a book, that does not stop anyone from just talking to you. It does not give you a periphery of leave me the fuck alone.
There you go.
But headphones totally do.
Headphones do. Here's the other thing. For me, it's more about found time.
Yeah.
Right? We went through life not knowing that doing an activity in the past used to take up the entire slot of that time. But now a second track bar has been introduced to your life, which is the audio.
What are you listening to?
You can do an activity and listen to something at the same time. And now you have two forms of micromanagement that you can use throughout your life.
You can multitask.
And every time that audio track bar is empty, you're wasting opportunity. You're wasting it. Those points are going nowhere. Right? You could be building up and leveling up by using both tracks, but you're not using both tracks.
Listen, books need hands.
And eyes and focus.
Those things are pointless. You don't need that. Just use ears.
That's what we're saying. So quite simple. With the convenient Audible app, while commuting, on the go, anytime on your device, pick up where you left off as you switch forward. It's a free and easy. It's free and easy to exchange your books. Credits roll over for a year. The library you can keep forever, even if you cancel. I mean, we've talked about it for so long, but quite frankly, what you need to do is Start listening with a 30-day Audible trial, and your first audiobook plus 2 Audible originals by visiting audible.com/superbeast or text superbeast to 500.
How does that work? I don't know how that works.
You take your phone,
yeah,
and then you type in 500.
But does it open like a browser?
And then you type in the word Super Beast and you text it.
Yeah.
And then you should get a reply that will give you all the information that you need.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. So
that's the future, man.
Well, that's hey, you know what? People who are listening right now.
What?
That like you can browse or you can just text if you you know it's convenient. Kind of like Audible is. How about that?
It's that you really wrapped it up all pretty in a nice bow there.
It's super simple. So once again, that's audible.com/superbeast or text superbeast to 500 for your 30-day Audible trial and your first audiobook plus 2 Audible originals. Thanks, Audible.
Thanks, Audible.
Yeah, we just fucking flew all over the place with whatever.
Yeah.
But, that's fine.
I love finding new ways to say books are garbage.
True.
That cracks me up.
Oh, yeah.
Every time.
Oh, the best way to advertise something is to find something to dunk on.
Yeah.
And then just
fucking start shitting.
Just power dunk it.
Yeah.
Just infinitely into the ground. Worthless. Literally, I was looking around and just going like, I don't have any bookshelf space left.
No, you gotta fill with anime and figures.
Crammed.
You're getting bonus on this one, Audible.
Straight up. That's real.
We believe in bookshelves for video games, not paper.
And it's honestly becoming a world of like, if it's physical, it's because it's a limited edition thing.
Yeah.
Because otherwise...
Well, I really hope we get a fucking Soylent ad at one point so that I can just dump on the concept of food. The concept of food is stupid, and I resent it.
Except for when it tastes super good.
Yeah, but that's pointless. That's transitory.
Yeah, but it's pleasure. It's mouth pleasure.
Yeah, sure, it's transitory.
But what is the purpose of this life?
Wooly, we're talking in ad speak right now.
But
yeah, I know I eat things with my mouth and feel good.
That's not a sponsor, right?
I know.
But if it were, then either way, like, what is life if not all about seeking pleasure and avoiding pain?
Well, you could say that you're trying to uplift yourself into a higher form of human being and create
according to what metric?
I don't know if I know. Watch more Star Trek, you'll get more confused.
The bad guy in The Thing that says that his ideal of what humans have to become is the only way forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, man, I had a moment the other day where I was like, man, I love arguing with people. Conflict is the nature of the human experience. If you're not having conflict, then what's the point of and like, oh no, I'm a supervillain. Oh no. Darn.
Everyone's got their ideals.
Gotta kill Superman. That's my ideal right there.
The moment you
get him,
try to impose yours on other people, you become the supervillain.
Oh man. What if my ideal is free puppies?
But you're imposing free puppies.
Yes.
So everyone has to take a puppy.
That's correct.
Even those who are allergic deathly.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so now you're a
Get better.
Villain. Yeah, so now you're a supervillain.
Yeah, okay. But puppies.
But you killed the person who was allergic to that puppy.
Good, then we can have a more puppyful world.
Right, exactly. Do you see how this works?
Oh, wow, you're super right. That it's just like a fucking A to B to C on
that. 1 to 1. There's no C.
No, there's a C.
The B is the death of the person.
Yeah, and then the C is you look at the death of the person and go, oh.
Yeah, so
good.
B is the supervillainy. Like the
yeah.
It's the end. The means
no,
is
see
the line. The death is the line.
No, see here's the thing. For me, the line is not the death. The line is you look at the death and you either go good or I don't care. Okay. That's the line.
Sure. But the point is,
if you go, oh crap, whoops.
Anything can be super villainous.
Yeah. Providing that you impose it on others.
Yeah, okay. And yeah, the remorse doesn't necessarily modify that, because if you do or don't have remorse, you can be a supervillain with tons of remorse. We know some great ones.
Yeah.
In fact, those are often
like Goku.
They're often super compelling.
Yeah.
When they're remorseful.
You're thinking about Plague's video, aren't you?
No.
Oh yeah. Okay. Plague did a good video on that Wakfu character, the robot.
Did he?
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, you didn't? You didn't see it? It's fantastic.
I haven't seen it.
It's really good. You should check it out.
Okay.
That's Plague of Gripes.
Yeah. Well, he's the one that told me about that character to begin with.
Yeah, it's like a half hour long. It's really good.
Oh, fucking great. Yeah. Yeah.
Got video parts.
What an awesome description for a character. Really good. Yeah. Really like that that description that I got of that character, and that's why I brought it up. So, anyway, yeah, talked about Promare, talked about Sayonara Wild Hearts. Of course, Sayonara Wild Hearts currently up on Woolly Versus. Also, gonna be continuing to play Astral Chain.
Hey, where you at on that? Just give me a file.
I forget because they're super huge. I'm at the one that's about to be really long. So, or no.
Okay, how many legions you got?
I got Arm.
Okay, you got Arm, so that's file 4.
And I'm the one after that.
That's file 5 then.
Yeah.
Fucking a third through the game.
Yep.
Thumbs up.
Yep.
Is that game not like fucking the most gigantic thing ever?
It's crazy. There's little things that there's a little thing that like happened where I was like ended up having a discussion about like boss fights and like the core of what makes them good and what I don't like in them. And you know how like ads are almost universally just like terrible?
Yeah.
In some cases, like Control, ads exist so that you can heal.
Yeah. And that's literally the only reason they exist, because if not, you would just die.
Yeah. So something I hate more than ads is
patches of bullshit on the floor.
Action stoppers.
Yeah.
Right? Poison gas. I would rather if I would rather just take a health penalty.
Yeah.
Or damage.
And fight in the gas.
Than a movement stopper.
Yep, I agree.
Right? And like even in like Bayo 1, there's like the little thing that turns you into baby Cereza.
Yeah.
And it's very brief and you can still run around, but it's like But I'm stuck in the Guck is anti-fun.
Yep. It's not good.
Nope.
Don't I agree.
So, but it did display an ability that the Arm Legion has.
I think that's why that's there.
And that's
because then you never deal with it ever again.
Because that is clearly like, oh yeah, this doesn't have that problem.
So you just switch to Arm and then that problem just doesn't exist.
So it's a teaching moment.
It reminds me of Bayonetta and the fire patches and Durga on your feet.
Right. No, you need both.
No.
You need fire on hands and feet.
Nope, you just need them on your feet to walk over the stuff.
Wait, no. Okay, not for that. It's for fire enemies.
Yeah, fire enemies, you need them on your hands. If it's just the hands that hit, and it's a distinction between what is actually hitting the enemy. But for the patches, you only need the feet.
So that was a teaching moment, but it unfortunately led to some anti-fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, all that continues. Ni no Kuni, and took a look at some other stuff as well, including gonna continue playing River City Girls because it's not that long.
It's really good too.
So that
the fucking track The Hunt that you hear in the mall is the best track in the game, and it's just great.
Yep. Took a look at Blasphemous.
Yep. So I have a lot to say about Blasphemous. How do you like Blasphemous?
I really like Blasphemous. It's a better it's like it because okay, I had a lot of experience like with that type of game because I went really far into Death's Gambit. I didn't beat it, but I put a lot of I went pretty far into it, and this is a tighter version of that. I like a lot of their choices. Obviously the parry is sick, that goes without saying. It's interesting how your corpse run is not the same as a normal corpse run. It's
very different.
Right?
If you don't care about magic, you don't have to do it.
And it's sectioned off into each death.
Yeah.
So you don't have a corpse and then the new spot happens.
Yeah, if it's close enough to the old corpse, it'll just combine.
But you can die in multiple places and have multiple corpses floating around, and all they do is they take a bar of your well, that's not all they do. They take a bar of your magic away, and they do something else that I don't remember.
When you pick them up, they heal you.
Okay.
I 100%ed Blasphemous on Thursday. Whatever. 100%, 0.0% on that file. I'm done.
It feels really good.
It is the most satisfied I have been completing a game in a long time.
Hour count?
17.
Good.
Okay. There is the perfect amount of hidden stuff and collectibles in that I was consistently finding them, and then when I was done, like when I was actually done, I did one lap and picked up like 3 collectibles that I had forgotten to pick up and was at 100%.
I broke a hidden wall, and then I went, oh no.
Yes, you did.
Is there any sort of item that gives you a little beep?
About 70% through the game, you get a bell that rings when there's a secret on the screen.
Literally all I wanted.
Yep.
Is just a thing
and you put that,
to stop me from hitting every wall.
You put that bell on, and you never take it off.
Lovely.
And you're done.
Lovely. How about that lore button?
I read every single piece of the lore in that game except for all the bones, because those are Kickstarter backers. It is all fantastic.
Yes. It's interesting because like playing this as well with the boys like led to another sort of understanding and discussion where
is Reggie Catholic?
No,
okay, because that would have because I need to get a hold of somebody who's Catholic, because this game is fucking Catholic,
but fake Catholic.
No, Spanish Catholic.
So fake Catholic.
That no, yeah, whatever. No, I mean the helmet's real.
Yeah. A lot of that imagery is coming straight out of the fucking dunk fire, like of horrible.
Suck it, Spaniards.
Yeah, it's getting. What better way to have faith than to have it beaten into you? So
Catholicism appears to be about suffering. I'm just saying.
Yeah. We talked about Mother Teresa a little bit there, but it was really interesting because so Min, for example, who's like, there's 2 things going on. One, he's Buddhist, so like he's like a lot of this lore is just bouncing
totally
off
divorced.
Of me.
Yeah,
no idea. But second, a game with lots of reading and talking means a sleepy boy, and it's just like, okay, so.
You get a vastly. So you talked about this when you played Control.
Yes.
You talked about it last week. Blasphemous has a really different flow depending on whether or not you want to read that shit or not. Mm-hmm. Because it's long. Those descriptions are really long in some cases.
I found they were all 1 page. They were Dark Souls.
Yeah, they're 1 page, but some are 5 sentences and some are massive paragraphs.
Okay, but I enjoyed every single one of them.
They're
also,
great.
Like the way the NPCs speak and the entire art style.
We're talking about pronunciation today, so I want to use this because it reminded me. Blasphemous has my favorite pronunciation of any word I have heard in years, and it is the way every character in that game says the word "the miracle." Like the cult is like way underemphasized, and it doesn't sound like the miracle that we think of. It sounds like something horrible. Like, it's the worst thing that ever happened. But they're talking about it as like, oh, the grievous miracle. And it's like, it's great.
Yeah, fantastic job with the voice acting in that. Fantastic. And I said that looking at the quality of the sprite art, it feels like there was an artist that was just making his own horror sprite-based artwork.
Yeah.
And someone came along and just started making a game underneath him, like it feels like he was just making stuff and then a programmer just started taking his files and putting it into something, because there's so many like moments where any other game would be like, oh, you want to have a conversation here with this character, then you're going to have 2 big portraits talking to each other like RPG style, and here it cuts to an FMV.
It cuts to
That's not an FMV. It's a sprite-based cutscene, like old PC games.
It cuts to the 1996 introduction video for Eye of the Beholder 2 on your VGA graphics card.
Yep, and like old PC game sprite intros.
It's so specific,
and like you're getting them pretty generously.
They're front loaded and back loaded.
Okay.
But that time when you give the mea culpa to the fucking thing,
and you see the design on the sword of and then you see the statue, and then like you're like, oh, every little detail.
Also, I would highly recommend to anyone who is enjoying or going to play Blasphemous, maybe occasionally look up some Latin phrases, because Latin is head to toe all over that fucking game.
Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, mea culpa. That's your legal term.
Yeah,
but yeah, what a fantastic 2D Soulsvania.
So I don't know what to call it, because I'm
just calling them Soulsvanias
because it's Metroid. Like, that's its primary influence.
Yeah.
But I was reading something somewhere, and somebody came up with a much better way to describe it. Instead of being a Metroidvania, it feels more like somebody took all the Castlevania 1 levels and just fucking stitched them together. Because some of those levels are just fucked, and they feel like old fucked Castlevania levels.
The problem with all of this terminology is that Metroid refers to the layout of the map.
And this game is Metroid as hell.
And how you progress through rooms and sections.
Yeah.
The Vania, obviously, for the Castlevania games that like adopt this similar approach. And then the Souls things is based on corpse run, item lore, leveling, and usually boss encounters.
Yeah.
Right? So both terms are actively describing the game.
Blasphemous does a weird thing, and I've played a lot of these games, and so have you. So maybe you can help me, because its structure is way more open than your average Metroid game or Metroidvania. Most Metroid games or Metroidvania games or Castlevania games, it is you can really only go so far off that first path until you get the item, the traversal item, and then that will allow you to go to the top part, and then that will open, right? And it just opens up like a tree branch. In Blasphemous, you can go everywhere in the first half of the game right away.
Yeah.
And then once you kill the 3 bosses, you can go everywhere in the second half of the game right away until you kill the 3 bosses, and then you can go fight the final boss.
Yeah, so I branched down to a really hard area and went, okay, I'm good, and then went back to the original. I folded back to the original branch, opened up a shortcut, went, yay, and then realized there was another branch I forgot about on the way to that one, and like, okay, yeah, I'm feeling that map. You know?
That game is incredible. However, as a recommendation, I would recommend that everybody excited to play that game right now wait 1 or 2 weeks, as there are many ways for your save file to get fucked up.
God damn it.
Bosses don't stop attacking animations that they have already started after they die. If they kill you simultaneously, you will have all your upgrades disappear. You may get trapped in boss rooms. There's one boss, if you kill it fast enough that it dies before its phase change, it will phase change and lock you into an animation that kills you, and then you will get trapped forever.
So this too sounds like Death's Gambit.
Yes. The team has a patch in the works right now saying it fixes most of the known issues, almost all of which are save game ones. But save game issue bad. When I was playing it, every time I was going to go fight a boss, I went and had a backup of a save. There are a couple that are known problems, and it's because they attack after their deaths.
Okay. There's so you played a bunch of them. You said you didn't touch that one, right? You didn't touch that.
Didn't touch it.
But you touched Salt and Sanctuary.
I did. Can't stand it.
Right.
Hate it.
Right. There's something immediately to I mean, we talked about it before a couple times, but it's like there's something to these games where it's like the moment you grab it and you touch the controls on it, right? I got it the first time I picked up Dead Cells.
Yeah.
Where you're like, this is the good.
You're like, good.
This is the good one, right? And then in Salted Sanctuary, you're like, this is the slidey one.
And that's why I hate it.
This is the slidey one.
Yeah.
Right?
Like right away. Just bam, don't want it.
It's the Unity or the slidey, the asset, you know?
No thanks.
The flashy one, vectory, whatever the term is. And then Blasphemous, it's like, oh no, this is the good one.
This is a Super Nintendo game.
This is the
Actually,
good one.
no, this is a Genesis game. It feels like a fucking Genesis game.
It's like, I guess it's just the difference between like feeling like everything. It's this is super wrong, right? But it's the feeling that everything is happening like in a pixel grid versus
I know what you mean.
Cardboard shapes with strings moving them along, sliding around the place.
Yeah.
How slidey are things?
I don't like slides.
Slidey things
Doesn't feel good.
Yeah. You know, did he swing the sword with an animation, or did the limb go up and then rotate down?
Yeah.
You know.
Don't like that sliding.
Even when the game is great, I'm always gonna feel that.
Blasphemous feels really good, and I want to give Blasphemous big ups for being the first of these games to have the very first combat encounter be a boss fight.
Yeah.
You don't even get the tutorial.
It's your Asylum Demon, right?
Yeah, but Asylum Demon, you go all the way through the fucking Undead Asylum. This is the first time you swing your sword at an enemy, it's a boss. It tells you that before it teaches you how to jump.
And it's not a hard boss, but you learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Shoutouts to tweening. Shoutouts to just insane levels of detail in and to like clearly like it's not that PC pixel art old PC pixel art style. It's something newer and better.
Yeah.
But it's
evocative.
It's built off of the back of that. Exactly. Blasphemous is gorgeous and super fucked up.
It's hey, if you take some of that stuff to its logical conclusion,
You ever play Blackthorn?
I have not played Blackthorn.
There's a bunch of prisoners tied up throughout the game in Blackthorn. You can talk to them or you can kill them.
Yeah.
In this game, is there anything?
Fuck 'em.
Nothing.
You know what those prisoners are? They're lanterns on the wall that give you hearts.
I was wondering about that, but then I never got anything.
The only thing, you need a special item for
I picked up an item that said you get a chance of getting some stuff, but I never got stuff.
It is. Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering about that, and then I was like, ooh, that's brutal.
No, fuck them.
But then it was also like, yeah, but aren't you putting them out of their misery? And it's like, ooh.
Yeah, until you come back onto that screen.
So.
Yeah, so there's the save bugs, and then there's one bug that's really bad, which is spike pits are instantaneous death. And when I say instantaneous, it is a one-frame death. You touch the spike with your foot, your character one frames into I'm dead on the spikes.
Mega Man.
No, Prince of Persia.
Okay.
Like, it's hilarious.
Okay.
Your guilt can spawn on those spikes. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to spawn on the platform. And then you're like, well, fuck. And then you have to go to the guilt statue to get it back.
Yikes.
So
yeah, that sounds bad.
Patch incoming. Game's incredible. The instant that patch hits and fixes those save bugs, go get it.
I've never seen like an opening branch to the upgrade tree where I'm like, I want all of these paths.
Every single one of them.
Like I'm like, oh, you figured me out. Like you put something I want on every single branch here. God damn, is
they're
that
all really good. That stinger path though is the best one. Wooly,
I want them all.
I'm telling you numerically that stinger path is the best one.
Yeah. But I just like that was a sign of a well distributed upgrade tree.
Yeah, it's short and sweet. It's really good. That game's really good.
Yeah.
Music's great too.
Everything.
Audio visual package is stellar.
Came out of almost nowhere too. I feel like I didn't.
I had
really
heard
hear about it,
and it was a Kickstarter game that was quite old. Would you be shocked to hear that it was made by a bunch of Spanish devs?
I would not,
because
there you go.
It's like bursting.
Yeah.
With Catholic.
Yeah, it's so Catholic that like the Christian part of it just bounces right off of it.
Yeah, you see Jesus on screen 1 and never again.
Yeah. The Christian part of it just like it doesn't resonate at all because I'm like, this is so into
the obscure weird shit.
Oh, what's the fucking word? There's a specifically
the Trinity?
No, there's a word for, I forgot it. I had it in my brain a second ago, but it's a word for basically the Catholic canon.
Dogma.
The dogma, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's oozing all of that. Even just like the little NPCs that are just like washing the backs of the sick,
kissing the wounds and
and you're just like, ooh, like
gross.
Oh, that
I don't want to do that.
That's a tumor. But anyway, yeah, so that's gonna be popping up this week on Woolly Versus, and you were streaming.
Yeah, I streamed the whole fucking thing 100%.
So
well, no, I streamed the whole thing 99.75%, and then as 10 minutes after the end of the stream, I went and found 2 cherubs that I had missed.
Right on. And I've been putting it, like I said it before, but I've been keeping up with my like grind in Samurai Showdown.
Yeah.
And
I saw Reggie talking about how you beat his fucking ass.
Did he?
Yeah.
Where?
On Twitter.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh.
He was like, after some event or something, he was like, hey, Willie, let's have a match, and you went 5-0 on him.
Yeah. Well, because I'm going to CEO Taku this weekend.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm going down to Orlando. Going to be competing there, and I believe what's the other tournament coming up? Well, there's Canada Cup, which I'm definitely also like think I'm gonna head out to, even though it's much further this time around, but like there's Samurai Showdown tour happening, so like I'm trying to get that Darley in.
I have a question for you.
Yeah,
because this is gonna cycle back to a topic we had a couple weeks ago, which was that feeling when your character just sucks ass.
Mm-hmm.
And then right after that conversation, Darley got like hugely buffed, right?
Immediately.
And then a week after that, I saw something you post on Twitter, which is against Ukyo, nothing Darley does is safe or fast enough to not get instantly beat out by like a jab on every situation.
A slide, yeah.
Is that still accurate?
Mm-hmm.
What does that do to your soul? What is that match?
That match is don't be predictable. So I thought that turned it all. I thought on paper that turns the situation into like a 10-0 almost.
Yeah.
And it turns out that it doesn't, because they still have to make reads and movements and guess when I'm gonna do things, right?
But it just means that if they do guess, there's a button they can hit every time.
Exactly. And it means that like I have to do a lot of uphill work to get openings. But yeah, Yukio can slide any button that is pressed.
Is that not infuriating?
Yeah. But you're just dealing with it.
Okay.
You know?
I was just curious because, like, seeing that after that conversation and follow-up was just like, you fucking for real? That looks fucked.
Yeah. Yeah. And in an execution, it turned out to be less of a problem than I was worried about.
Oh, good.
But still a very real concern because, yeah, like you can get challenged on block like a lot, you know? So, anyway, that's going to be going down as well. Yeah, and I think, and I believe this week, going to take a look at Ninja Warriors again.
Okay.
Damon X Machina. And either Goose Game or something else fun. So, all that over on Woolly Versus. Come check it out if you want to see some fun
stuff. So, let's see. Talked about Blasphemous. Incredible. Super good. I also went back, and this is going to be way after 3 years, I think, of not touching it. I went back and finished the entirety of the Blood and Wine expansion for Witcher 3. It's good. It's more Witcher 3. It's really good. It has a really fantastic ending for Geralt the character. Like,
You mean the setup for the Netflix series?
No. I mean, it's a really good ending for that character after you've gone through all of the games and all of the DLCs. It's a good one. I also beat, and I will talk about this in very careful terms because I think you will actually go back to it, Control. Remember when I was like, you were like, oh, they're setting up all this weird shit, and I was like, it goes places?
Mm-hmm.
It goes places that have answers. Like, real answers. As to what that is, or why that is, or whatever. And those answers are great. It is so scary when you are playing a game like that that's all mysterious and, ooh, what could it be?
That the mystery is going to be garbage?
That it sucks.
Yeah.
It was really funny with Alan Wake because it was aping Stephen King novels, and a bunch of Stephen King novels have terrible endings. And then Alan Wake had a really good one. This one has a really good one. And in particular...
I mean, It 2 is out right now.
In particular, near the end of the game, I ran into a weird issue specifically because I was streaming it. So I'm streaming it, and there's a wonderful option for streamer people.
Turn off the copyrighted
music. Except I started to get near the 80% mark, and every day I had people messaging me on every social media they could get a hold of. Before you sit down for the next session, turn that shit off. If the VOD gets muted, fine. If the YouTube video gets taken down, give up. But you will fucking ruin that game for yourself if you do not have the music on for the sequences you are about to do. And I thought, that's ridiculous. Then I did the sequence they were talking about. That is not ridiculous. Now, I don't know if you're going to record it or play it or whatever. If you don't record it and you're just playing it for yourself, obviously you don't need to worry about this. Just do whatever.
There's a point in the game where you should turn it off.
If you are recording or streaming it and it's the maze.
Okay.
The game will say, go to the maze, turn the fucking music back on. Because that sequence is incredible. The downside to that is that is the highlight of the whole game, and it is followed by the worst part of the entire game. Like, it's the best, most incredible, perfectly directed sequence, followed by a terrible, long, easy to fail with terrible checkpoints combat sequence that just drags. That being said, all in all, game is real good. And it does something really cool after you beat it, in that the game will acknowledge that you beat it, and Jesse will have new dialogue for every single area in the game.
That's the coolest thing I've heard in terms of a New Game Plus since Chrono Trigger. That's incredible. That's really, really incredible.
Like, you will have won, and you will have dealt with the problem, right? And you are going...
That's a new game.
And you are going around in New Game... not New Game Plus, sorry. Post-game. Not New Game Plus, my bad.
Oh. Okay. I was like,
sorry, I misspoke.
That's a huge difference.
I'm sorry. In the post-game, you
are
going around, and your character, Jesse, will acknowledge that, that it is the post-game, and talk about restructuring or how to fix this or what have you.
Okay.
Good game. Good use of music. Terrible final boss. Just terrible final boss.
Man, bummers.
It is.
But I'd rather you drop that than drop the mystery.
Yeah, the mystery nails it. It kills it.
Because between the two,
and
at the end of the day, I still have fond feelings for BioShock.
Yep. But the ending to that sucked.
But yet the feeling remains.
Yeah, because that BioShock, I think, is one of the only games I will ever say that game should have ended 2 to 3 hours earlier. It should have just ended like that.
I say that about a bunch of games, but
BioShock's is very overt because everyone knows exactly where that game should have ended.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for me.
Cool.
I'm gonna be streaming a bunch of shit this week over at twitch.tv/angriestpat. I'm going to be streaming. What time is it right now? It's 3:30 p.m. Cool. I'm going to be streaming Surge 2 earlier tonight as a sponsored stream. They were kind enough to give me a code and some money. So I'll be doing that. Joke's on them. I was totally already going to stream it. I'm going to be streaming Untitled Goose Game. I'm going to be streaming FF7. I'm also going to take a look at Ashen, because that's a Souls-like that's coming out. Or no, that's a Souls that did come out. And Code Vein also comes out on Friday.
Yep.
So there's a lot of Souls shit.
Yep.
Coming out. So look out forward to that at twitch.tv/angriestpat.
Okay. So, slow news week.
That's fine. We fucked around a lot.
Yes.
We have fucked around for 2 hours.
We call that evergreen content.
That's evergreen content.
Evergreen content.
Evergreen content.
You can go back and listen to any of that anytime, and it doesn't matter what's happening in current events.
Yeah.
We got that far with all that evergreen content.
Blasphemous is still going to be weird and Catholic 10 years from now.
But this week and this week alone, blackface will be blackface. Brown face will be brown face.
Man! That ain't no good, man!
Okay.
I don't want to live in this fucking reality.
Okay.
I don't care how seriously you take costuming, man.
I cannot recreate the noises I made because it was a snort chortle.
A snortle, if you would.
Of just I just lost it when I read that headline, and then every subsequent headline about how our prime minister, it wasn't even black, it was brown face was the first headline. Photos emerge of Justin Trudeau wearing brown face
at a party themed about Arabian Nights.
And I'm like, at this time of year, located entirely in this election where you're running against a Sikh candidate, that is fucking perfection.
So that's
holy shit. And then the follow-up.
So step one is just everyone has a different reaction. I did laugh a little, but at the same time I was like, oh, just full on Mike Stoklasa, just
howling.
Oh
no, howling.
But the howling / freaking out of embarrassment was the following day. Of, hey, a friend of mine said, hey Pat, how do you feel about your prime minister being a serial blackfacer? And I went, what? What are you talking about?
The headlines as they read, according to the newspapers, saying things such as, Justin Trudeau says he does not know how many times he has worn blackface in his life. And then the reporter's follow-up question being, can you round it up to the nearest 5 or 10?
I love the way that politicians get fucked with in this country.
Oh,
they get fucked
my
with.
God. Dude. I love...
The answer is at least 3.
Oh, man.
At least 3.
You know, of all the sorts of international crises that we could be going through up here in Canada, we get the fucking just... It is a sketch.
It's a sketch.
It's
a sketch that if this hour had 22 minutes had performed, people would say it was too much and it would be an outrage.
Like CBC fucking comedy TV, it is not real how fucking, oh my god, yeah, all right.
And you go through that moment of you hear about it and you're like, it can't be that, and then you see the photo and you're like, oh my god, it's worse than I thought.
Like it is a Chappelle Show season 2 sketch.
If you go back and watch that old interview with Justin Trudeau where he's like, here's my party trick, and he falls down the stairs, and he's got the douche mustache, and I'm like, oh no, my brother is prime minister. Right? You know, like,
he falls down the stairs. Yeah.
Because like Justin Trudeau is from here.
Oh yeah.
And he's one of my boys.
Oh
like,
yeah.
He is absolutely. I know 10 other Justin Trudeaus. I grew up with them.
Yeah.
You know the JF that I make. Fuck off, JF. Our prime minister is JF.
Montreal. Yeah.
It's just JT instead.
JT, yeah.
Fuck, man.
Yeah. From the Montreal boroughs.
Fuck.
That's the best thing ever. That's not evergreen content. That is Everbrown content.
Oh no! No! Oh, you got me so bad.
That's one in the
Listen,
bank.
I know I'm not some kind of big figure, but as somebody who is a white guy from Montreal who grew up with a lot of Justin Trudeaus, everybody else in the rest of the world, that one's our bad. That's our bad. Sorry about that one. That's that's not great.
Wish I could just like light up a cigar every time a clear title just comes out, just be like, and there it is. Yep.
Oh my god.
It's become a little mini game, waiting for the title, you know, seeing where it's going to land.
It's no game this week.
I mean, right before that was like a debate where he didn't show up, so there's a bunch of funny pictures of like some of the opposition taking pictures with an invisible handshake.
See, that's good.
And it's just like, haha, see, our opponent didn't show up. And then, like, could you imagine the fervor when the news people found that? And
they all started coming in their pants.
And the fucking opposition, like, they're down at their office when they caught that headline.
Oh, it break out the champagne.
Just
it's a good
straight
day
up,
for everybody.
Straight up, shots.
You know what I imagine every single version of that conversation went like? It probably went like when I discovered it, which is step 1, shut up.
Yeah.
Fuck you. And then you look at it, and then you're telling shut up to the photo? You're like, shut up! No way!
Like, I want to think that somewhere, like, someone just looked into Jagmeet's office and saw him doing a spinneroonie. Just breakdancing. Like, fucking, you know? Like, no cardboard. Oh my god. All right, anyway.
With the lips and everything.
Singing the song.
Willie, how do you feel about being a black Canadian under this prime minister?
Fucking love it. This is the best.
It's the most involved you've ever been in politics.
This is the best. I'm in love with everything about this. I can't wait to see how it develops. Like, yeah, I'm happy. I'm what a time to be alive.
What a time.
What a time, you know? And of all the moments that you could have picked, it was like,
this is going to be a little old, right? But this is another example of the Onion predicting the future. There's an old Onion article it's about American politics, but it applies here. And it talks about how because of the ubiquitous of young people's use of social media, Facebook, Instagram, MySpace at the time is mentioned, I think, no one is electable anymore, right? So they were either trying to build a robot or I think resurrect zombie Reagan because there is no one.
Yeah.
And it's like, we now live in the world. Justin Trudeau is like 44, right? Or 45, something like that.
He's a young one.
Right?
Yeah.
But he existed in the modern age appropriately. In 20 years, every political candidate, you'll be able to go look at the dumb motherfucking thing they said on Facebook when they were drunk.
Yeah. And Trudeau in particular, like, it's like he happens, because he's young, he's very outspoken on like a lot of really like progressive issues. Yeah.
And then you're like, wait a second, when were these photos taken? Oh, right, when you were a university professor.
Like,
oh,
he's really into costumes, man.
So the quote is, I fucking shit you people not. You all know, and you know this, he's talking to a specific reporter, I've always been really enthusiastic about costumes in the past.
Anyway.
That's the deflect.
Anyway.
That's a shitty deflect.
Like, yeah. And this is one of those bits where it's just like, it's like, hey, what's your stance on, my stance is laughter. If you ever want to ask what platform I stand on, I believe in laughter.
That's a good I believe in that.
Gut aching, fucking stomach busting, howling laughter.
We live in a fucking farce. This is a dumber situation than I could have like made in my dumb analogy what ifs.
I love it.
Let's get out of here. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Right.
It's very upsetting.
Well,
think of how warped this is. This is hilarious to you, upsetting to me.
I love it.
That's what's happened. That we have reversed
the best timeline.
The power of blackface has been reversed.
Any better?
It now makes white people feel bad and makes black
rules.
people laugh.
It's great.
You took it.
It's the
You guys
best.
took it back.
I'm so happy. Deep inside, I'm so happy. It fucking rules. Blackface is awesome.
No, stop. Stop it. Out of context, Wooly Twitter. There you go. There's one for tomorrow.
I did it. Yeah.
I know you did it for that reason.
Yeah. And clip.
That's not the podcast title. No, sir.
All right. Anyway.
What's happening in the news? The video game pop culture news.
Thanks for specifying.
Yeah.
Well, the bigger story is that the Apple Arcade has launched.
Oh, that's everyone. Everyone I've talked to, especially my friend who's obsessed with Shantae, is really happy.
Now, there's a reason why we're going to talk about this as opposed to not talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because the second part of the story. Well, okay, Apple Arcade. It's a subscription service
for video games.
For iOS, the new iOS came out, and basically, you sub and you're going to be playing what it's basically showing you is like they kind of advertise it as like no ads, no additional purchases, download to play offline or
Netflix
online.
for games on your Apple device.
And they're very clearly trying to say not shitty mobile games, real games. But they're not actually saying that.
Because they can't.
But they're
saying it.
Fucking elbowing you with it, right? And
real video games, guys.
And then they're showing off stuff like some of the titles that are on it, like okay, they're showing off Pathless and Oceanhorn is on it. I know Oceanhorn is a super good game, but then like it's got Punch Planet, it's got Sayonara Wild Hearts, right? It's got
video games,
Enter the Gungeon, right? So yeah, you got
actually no, it's got it's called Escape the Gungeon.
Oh, excuse me, is that a different?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, you're riding the elevator out of the Gungeon.
Huh. I didn't know.
And it's all the same characters and stuff like that, but it's like a reverse Downwell.
So it's a sequel.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, so
Exit the Gungeon.
Okay.
And the song is Exit the Gungeon. It's fucking great.
Okay. So yeah, this is a thing. Like, it's trying to show you not mobile games.
Yeah.
And a game like Punch Planet is most certainly
That's not a
not
mobile
that.
game at all.
But the what this comes out with, which is really cool. Yeah, fuck yeah, Sayonara Wild Hearts. There you are. Is the iOS 13 update lets you just grab your PS4 controller or your Xbox One S controller and connect it to your iOS device.
Oh, see, now I'm listening.
Yeah. So literally turn the Bluetooth on your phone, grab your controller,
and play a real video
hold
game.
the sync button or press the share and PS buttons, and it connects to your fucking
All right,
phone.
well, get ready, third-party manufacturers, to make a lot of money on that thing that will attach to the controller and hold your phone in place. you know, like...
Yeah. Or your iPad stabilizer.
Yeah,
or
whatever.
But, like, suddenly, now, real.
Yeah, because controls.
The thing they never wanted to do before.
They finally caved.
Yep.
Good.
And they're actively, like, basically going, like, fuck you, Switch. A little bit. Trying to do their thing. No. But it's like, okay, you could have done this at any time.
Yeah. You could have done this 10 years ago.
At any time. But they finally did it. Yay at that. You can make real games now, and you can play real games on your phone because you can actually use a controller to play them.
That's good.
Yeah. So suddenly, we're going to talk about the Apple Arcade.
Oh, that's weird.
And games coming out on it.
Oh, that's weird.
Because that's a platform.
Because it's a platform now instead of a garbage pile. Well, it's still a garbage pile.
It's not streaming the games to you.
Yeah.
You're downloading them and playing them on the phone.
Did Stadia come out and die already, or what?
Who said anything about fuck it? You connect and download the games on your phone, and you connect your controller, and then you play the video game.
Uh-huh.
It is a platform.
Yeah.
Go fucking play Punch Planet, man. That thing's awesome. And I don't know if you got to see it, but they just released a cinematic trailer that kind of like...
I did not. I saw that it got released.
So there's a new intro trailer, like cinematic trailers, kind of showing off the characters and a bit of what the story is going to be. And it's exactly what you would expect. Just gorgeous aesthetic.
Yeah.
Super futuristic city. Looks like your main character Roy is like on the run, ex-cop kind of thing. Mm-hmm. At some point, Dog just jumps on a table and does what Dog does.
Bark.
You know? I'm very, very, very excited for Punch Planet, and this shit is awesome. Really cool new intro that they got going. Same, actually, for Indivisible, which I don't know if you saw, but they also put out their new the intro, the opening animation,
done by Studio Trigger.
It's done by Trigger, exactly.
It's good.
Guess what? It's fucking great.
Yeah, shocker.
My brain keeps seeing Trigger as Anime Platinum.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It just keeps doing that.
Yeah, that's a direct comparison. That makes sense.
Guns for Hire.
You're not wrong.
And we fucking crush it.
Yeah, and they have a similar aesthetic.
And they do.
Action. Yep. Specific type of action too.
Yeah. I mean, and like wonderful.
Broke.
Yeah.
Always broke.
Well, trying. You know, and yeah, we're like, again reaching out and working on shit that's just like, oh yeah, we wanted to have their touch on this, so they came along and added their very distinct style to it, and like Indivisible's intro looks gorgeous. So between these and like Sonic Mania and stuff, like yay for just nice animation intros.
I like animation when it's nice.
You know what I mean? Like
Disney.
The return of cool intros that clearly cost time and money. Mm-hmm. but it's not.
Yeah, but it's a tone setter for the whole game.
It's so appreciated.
Yeah.
It really is. You know, I mean, I can't tell you how long, how many years. Like, how long did people talk about the Wild Arms intro?
Long time.
You know what I mean?
Hey, Wooly, let's take a really direct example about a game we've been talking about today a lot. Blasphemous. The cutscene after you defeat the first boss in Blasphemous might be the most expensive thing that was put into that game. It's 1 minute long, tops, but it is like a defining moment of that game and establishes the character and the tone and the look and everything like that.
It's very...
Dunk that bucket of blood.
It's very important. And it adds a lot when you do it. And it just... You get hyped to fucking start the game. You're like, oh shit. Yeah, we're in. You know? So yeah, that's what we're getting out of this. Now I will say that like the hype that you get from watching a cool intro sequence that's like animated well and done like that or whatever, that's basically the experience of playing Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Wow.
Quite frankly.
You're making me hate that game.
Okay, well.
I hate that game now.
Good. Then that can sit on the pile next to Gungrave of things that you can hate.
By the way, I got an explanation for why Gungrave's story is so weird.
Okay.
Because it was the video game first.
Yeah, it was.
And then they adapted it, and all the cool stuff that you love is from the adaptation.
Well, the game barely went into the past.
Yeah.
That's
what I mean. The cool stuff that you love is from the adaptation where they expanded on that.
Yeah, and then it goes into...
But the game is about Zombie Man.
It has to go back to the Zombie Man, yeah. Anyway.
That, like, perfectly explains why that stuff is so bizarre.
Yeah. Shoutouts to episodes 2 to 14.
That's why I stopped watching it. I watched the first 3 episodes. And I was like, cool, Zombie Man, shoot the gun. And then it was some fucking mafia thing. And I'm like, when am I going to get back? And you told me episode 15. And then I stopped.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't like the mafia thing?
It's not what I was on the box and that I signed up for.
I again make the direct comparison to Guts and the flashback to the past.
What flashback to the past?
First episode of Berserk. He's in the future. He's got the cannon on his arm. He's got
and I waited decades to get to that, and I got frustrated and just started reading the manga.
Okay, well I get it. I like the flashback, and I'm down. So we're not whatever. The point, just like last time, is whatever. Throw it on the pile. Anyway, so
it's one of those hipster games, isn't it?
Gungrave is a hipster game.
No, I'm talking about Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Oh yeah, super totally.
Yeah, it's totally
big hipster game.
Like I saw the colors, I'm like, that's a hipster color.
100%. Yeah. Which is why you might hate it.
Oh no. Is the music ska?
that
is
like,
there a part? Is there a part where your character? Is there a part where your character gets their trilby and trumpet out?
The sentiment you're going for is fucking boomer.
Yeah, isn't it?
Okay,
yeah,
that is outdated.
See, now you're using it.
Yeah, like you skipped. You could have went for like Mumford, and that would have been more on point.
I actually don't know what that is.
Well, you can use that when you're trying
to... Am I not hipster enough
when you're trying to pick a music genre and go like fucking hipster?
Yeah.
Just go say Mumford from now on.
What is that?
It's the replacement for what you meant with ska.
What is that?
It's people dressing like old style.
No, I mean ska, because I went to school with some ska people.
Okay,
and they were fucking stupid.
Well, do you have a phone with Google on it?
I do.
You can answer your own questions now, can't you?
No,
you're a big boy.
I'm doing a podcast.
You're a big
and also,
boy.
If I go, okay, Google, what is ska? Everyone's phones are going to explode looking at ska right now. So no, I can't.
Okay. You know Death Grips?
No, I don't know Death Grips.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so
ska's a lifestyle.
Do you know Korea?
I am aware of the country of Korea.
Do you know about the PlayStation 4?
I am aware of the PlayStation 4.
Well, the Korean rating board actually it seems like, have rated Outer Wilds for PS4. So that might actually happen, I guess, despite not being announced, because that was an Xbox and Epic Store game.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. That's not surprising. That game's good. More people should play it.
You kind of want to imagine, like, you know, once these deals are all said and done, the PS4 version is waiting,
or the other,
version is just sitting and waiting to go.
Around, yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, not Outer Worlds, Outer Wilds. I did not say Outer Worlds. I said Wilds.
Are you sure?
Outer
did.
Wilds.
You did.
Rated for PS4 in Korea. How you feel about Farfetch'd?
It's a fucking bird with a leak that everyone pretends is a unique Pokemon.
Farfetch'd is cool.
It's a fucking bird.
Farfetch'd is cool.
He's fine. I feel no strong emotions about Farfetch'd one way or the other.
How you feel about Sirfetch'd? Does his smug aura mock you?
I feel nothing.
You don't think it's cool that after all this time, Farfetch'd has become...
I'm incapable of feeling excitement towards Pokemon at this point.
I mean, there's...
Also...
This is not a story about Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Yes, it is.
This is a story about Sirfetch'd.
That is a lie, considering Sirfetch'd has a literal sword and shield, you liar. Also, I want to point out, do you remember when I said, watch them make the new anime series include Pokemon that you can't catch in fucking Sword and Shield? The new anime series is totally going to be cross-regional and will include all Pokemon, especially the ones you can't catch in Sword and Shield.
Watch out, your boomer's showing.
My boomer?
Your boomer's showing. Am I doing it?
Your use of boomer is pretty boomer right now.
Okay, well.
You're turning this into Castle Boomer Beast right here, all right?
You're not going to push that.
It's already been pushed since like 2 days ago.
Yeah, but it has nowhere to go.
It doesn't.
There's a moat around the castle, so everyone pushing it is just dropping it into the water.
You know who would make a moat? You, because you're a boomer. Moats aren't effective in today's modern media landscape.
Media landscape.
That's right.
The moat is a metaphorical moat.
So, yeah, the moat is a metaphorical moat for the cross-media divergent expectation.
And it is a bottomless moat.
Oh, wow. That's a good one.
The things that they...
Did you finish Plague Tale?
No.
Because there's a bottomless moat that is bottomless.
It's not actually bottomless.
No, it's like they drop something like a torch down it and it just disappears from view.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
And that gets filled to the top with rats. And everyone is like, holy shit, how could there actually be this many rats?
It only exists to fill it with rats.
Yes.
If there is a nonsense infinite void, the only purpose of establishing it in this
is that the rats are more infinite. It's the funniest thing in the whole game.
Like, we cracked open Saturn and found out that inside its core is nothing but rats. Like, just...
There are 2 rats inside you. One has the plague. The other has the plague. You have the plague.
You know, air.
I do know air.
It turns out air is
rats.
Infinite.
It's just rats.
It's just infinite rats. That's what air is this whole time.
It's crazy.
You have been breathing rats.
I don't know how we missed it.
For your entire life, all of existence has been nothing but rats. It's the purest form. All right. Anyway, I was happy for Farfetch'd to finally get this cool evolution. And
I would prefer a Pokemon that is a bottomless pit filled with rats.
I wouldn't not prefer that, but no matter what the context, no matter what's going on, I'm not gonna fucking have a Farfetch'd evolution slide by my desk and throw that in the garbage.
Oh yeah, you were working hard, and then the fax came in, and a Sirfetch'd slid across your desk, and somebody slapped on the table and went, "Wooly, you gotta check this shit out."
It's really cool, and it should have existed in red and blue.
Yeah, it should have, or gold and silver. You're totally correct.
You know, when the leak eventually rots and dies,
Yeah.
Sirfetch'd retires forever from battle
And dies.
No,
Oh.
no, he just retires from battle.
Oh. You go. This is after he finds the Holy Grail. Yes.
I assume it's kind of like taking a Cubone's helmet off, because it's got to become a Marowak, otherwise, what the fuck? So
Time is meaningless.
yeah.
Also, congrats, Ash. You did it. Good for Ash.
Do you remember the part where I said it was a slow news week?
I do.
All right, so our last story is about how...
Is it from that Sports Nation
No,
post?
it's
Okay.
quite simply about how Mr. Driller Encore, Klonoa
Oh, wow.
Encore, and a couple of other Bamco Encore titles have been trademarked.
Wow, that's cool.
So we're getting stuff following, like, they did, like, Katamari Reroll was kind of like a re-release that they did before. So they're going to be doing some other stuff with Mr. Driller and Klonoa, Splatterhouse Encore, Wagyan Land Encore, and Genpei Toma Den Encore. I don't know those last two, but I can say that not enough people know about how badass Mr. Driller is.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, he's cool.
Not enough people know about Hori Taizo and how he showed up in Namco X Capcom in badass form. And I'm really, really sad. In fact, it's criminal.
Who's the mom? She's a character as well, right?
The mom is, she's the girl from... I forgot the name of the game, but she's on the bike in the orange jumpsuit.
Yeah.
And she has the gunner bike thing.
Because I think like Mr. Driller being the kid of those two characters is like my favorite thing ever. It's fucking so stupid.
Dig Dug guy, yeah. I really, it's such a shame that they never took Dig Dug and went anywhere with him.
Ever.
And well, I mean, he shows up in Mr.
Yeah,
Driller.
no, but what I mean is, like, you wanted the Namco X Capcom version of Dig Dug Man to come back out into his own game.
Like, it's so fucking nuts, because it's like, you look at, like, Bomberman Zero,
Yeah.
and you go,
Wow.
that can go forever. But the fucking Dig Dug, Torihai's,
I'm gonna blow air into these monsters until they fucking
inflate,
pop!
and then he's such a fucking badass, and I'm like, God damn it, how did you not reuse this anywhere else? That could have been so much more, and
Because they didn't want to give the inflation people what they wanted.
Oh my God. That probably had less than nothing to do with it.
You know what? You think that.
Wait. No, I meant to say not zero.
You meant that probably had more than nothing.
More than nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what I meant.
Which is like, that's awful, because it's like, oh, obviously that wasn't the reason, but I bet a conversation happened. One conversation happened. It's like, you accidentally made like a creepy porn thing, right? What? It's Dig Dug Man! Blows people up, they inflate. He's like, yeah. Yeah. They inflate real big.
How much inflation can Klonoa get?
And then they pop.
Can you inflate Klonoa?
I can inflate Klonoa. I would feel nothing inflating Klonoa.
Oh yeah, you hate Klonoa.
I don't care about Klonoa. I feel nothing towards Klonoa. Therefore, his inflation and subsequent bursting would fill me with nothing.
They never burst. For the fetish purposes, they always just inflate infinitely.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I thought I kind of got it.
No. There's no...
But now I don't get it.
No, there's no popping point. It just gets bigger than the planet.
You people are fucking stupid.
And then they get bigger than the...
If it popped, I could be there with you. I'd be like, it's like popping a zit or something.
Yeah, they inflate larger than reality, but they don't pop.
People are saying you're wrong, and some of them do pop.
Nah, they don't pop.
That's just a subgenre you haven't personally encountered in your journeys.
Look at me.
I'm looking at you.
They don't pop.
Sometimes they pop, probably.
Nah, they don't pop.
Guys, do they pop sometimes?
Nah, they don't pop. See that?
People are saying that they totally pop.
No, look at that. It says they don't pop.
Popping is separate. Okay, see that's
a different tag.
That's a different tag. I hate this podcast sometimes. I talk about things I don't want to talk about.
Someone pushed the microphone in front of your face.
I know, and I just have to talk. It's like a natural. It's like a fucking ambient effect of a microphone. Is that when it's in front of your face, you just talk.
You wait long enough, and then eventually, either horrible exposing secrets, terrible opinions, or
hey, you want a terrible opinion? I'll give you a terrible opinion. You ever be walking around and you're like totally normal and everything's fine, and you're like, I need to take a shower just to wash my balls.
Yeah.
Just your balls.
Yeah.
Everything else is clean and fine, and you're like, I've created a fucking pocket of danger in my balls.
No, now you're using your I'm crazy voice talking about this
for something that's totally normal.
But that's super normal.
Hey, Wooly, hey, I'm leaning forward if you guys can't tell at home. You want to hear the fucking secret? My crazy voice is how I talk about everything that is totally normal. Okay? That's when I talk about normal things. It's just, to you, many times, they're insane. So think about this. You think. Because you're like, oh, that's totally normal, Pat. Why are you using your crazy voice?
No,
because you might be there too.
There is a tone that you switch to when you know where you're going.
Yeah, and the fact that you think it's totally normal, guess what?
Yeah.
Guess what? You're with me now.
As far as ball washing goes,
yeah, you gotta wash them. You gotta wash your balls.
There are definitely times, because guess what? There's like, it's the first place to need a wash.
Everything just drips down into that one spot.
There's a cooldown timer on every part of your body.
And the balls is the shortest.
It's really short.
Yeah.
It's always going. Unit lost, training.
Yeah.
Unit ready, training. Unit ready. Like,
honestly, the whole reason you wear underpants is to protect the rest of your clothes from your balls.
Like, it's a whole different ecosystem.
Okay, it shouldn't be an ecosystem.
But
what is going on?
What
is going on?
The temperature is different.
Ecosystem implies a lot. What is going on?
The rainforest is on fire.
What?
We're talking about...
Now you're crazy!
We're talking about ecosystems. No, listen. The temperature is different.
It's very different.
You can tell at all times.
It has to be biologically different or else you'd be sterile.
You know how under your arm is different?
Yeah, it sucks.
Well, it's even more so than that.
Yeah.
Right? So it's totally not at all weird. It's very, very normal to be like, oh yeah, no, I need a shower just for that. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just for that pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Don't like it.
At the same time, you can just
spray Axe on it.
we can be hygienic and just go wash.
Yeah.
It's nothing stopping you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally nothing stopping you from just going and washing. But the timer...
Wait. Are you like...
Not if you're out of the house, then you can't.
Okay, because I knew a friend that would wash his balls in people's sinks.
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay, I thought that's what you were saying.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you're out of the house, then yes, there's a time impediment in your way.
Yeah.
However, you can very shortly and quickly find your way home.
Yeah.
To deal with the situation.
Just deal with it.
And you're going to, because once again, that timer is on a very short cooldown. It's pretty annoying as far as if in the micro that is the APMs of your body.
Yeah. It's annoying that you have to deal with that part 5 times as often as, say, your elbow.
Right. Imagine if your drones that were like resource mining.
Yeah.
You had to manually click on the Vespine gas.
Yeah.
And then manually click on the command center.
So yeah. So you know what? Some people, they just get annoyed and they're like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't need the Vespine gas anymore. Just let it sit.
Well, Vespene gas is what happens.
Create a new ecosystem.
No. You have to empty the Vespene gas.
Yeah, you gotta empty the gas.
The gas is there already. You need that Vespene gas gone.
So what we're describing is that you lift your balls up and there's like a cough of just...
You require more.
The human body is disgusting.
Yet amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, I guess. There's an old, what's his name? Red something. He's an old comedian. He was on Sanford and Sons.
Red Fox?
Red Fox. There's an old Red Fox special called "You've Got to Wash Your Balls."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because you have to.
Mm-hmm.
He's an old man, and he's like, you have to wash your balls. It's
mandatory. You know, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Axe put out...
Shut up.
Let me finish. A ball washing rag type device specifically for that? There is an actual shower accessory that's specifically for that purpose, and they put it out there, and I want to say that company...
Wash your balls, Axe commercial.
Yeah. And
Clean your balls with Axe.
And I want to say that tool put out by that company
oh my god, I'm looking at it
is
right
a
now.
Statement to tell you what not to do.
Don't spray
I think
Axe on your balls.
When the company that makes body spray says, here's a thing to wash your balls,
don't use the spray.
It's not telling you, but it is implying what you shouldn't be doing. Yeah. And guess what? That, like, body spray is, like, probably got some alcohol content in there. And anything with alcohol content that comes into contact, you know what happens. That's thin membrane.
You want to hear a funny story, and it's the simplest funny story, and it's happened to everybody. I like to clean my hands occasionally, maybe once a day, use hand sanitizer.
Of course hand sanitizer will do it.
So I put hand sanitizer on my hands and went...
Of course.
Not knowing...
Yes.
Wait, that I had a cut on my hand.
Yeah.
And then just what... like just... Oh my god. I rubbed it right in. Ow. Now imagine that was your nuts.
I remember when the kid in high school rubbed Bengay on his nuts.
Shut up! That didn't happen for real!
Totally happened!
Don't put icy hot on your balls!
It happened to Phil.
Phil's a dumb motherfucker!
I remember. I specifically remember.
And you said, Phil, don't do it!
Well, no, I wasn't there for it.
Okay, you were
I heard the story when it afterwards.
But if you had been there, would you... Okay.
Yeah!
Wooly, this is a really important part of a person's personality. Okay? People will judge you based on this question. If you had been there, would you have been like, nah, Phil, don't do it? Or would you have been like, do it, you pussy. Do it, Phil. Fuck yeah, you're the best, you can do it.
Now, a lot of that depends on what kind of person Phil is.
Right.
And knowing him, he's the type of person that was way into it anyway.
So you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, you should do it.
There's no stopping him at this point.
So what are you gonna do? You're gonna be a downer?
What am I gonna fucking stand in the way?
Mood?
Stand in the way of? Fuck yeah!
Get in or get out.
You missed a spot on that brown face over there. You need some help on that? Let me get.
You would absolutely be the guy.
Let me help you get the back of your neck.
You would absolutely be that motherfucker who's like, yeah, you know what, Jim? I think it's a really good idea for you to go to the party like this. Here, let me help you.
Dude, it fucking crushes the costume. It's so accurate.
Oh my god, you are such an asshole.
It's so accurate. You are killing it on the cosplay right now.
Oh my god. You're totally that guy. You're
it's
100%.
It is crazy. You are fucking crushing it. Everyone's gonna be super impressed.
Here, let me help you. I'll go buy the paint.
Wait, before you get there, let's put some of this on Instagram.
Yeah. Hey, it's a really good idea. Crop me out of the photo. I don't want to steal your thunder, right? But you're like just out of the frame, doing like this, like big thumbs up, like yeah. And then when he's like, I don't know what you guys. Wooly told me it was a good idea. I was like, what are you talking about? Who are you? Have we met, sir? I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like, Wooly, your fingers look like you like you literally have them. Like, what are you trying to say? What, my fingers can't be dark? You have a problem with my hands being dark?
Wooly, you have a fucking painting kit with the same paint used in the costume.
There's a paintbrush hanging out of your back pocket.
And it's dripping.
And
you're wearing a shirt that says brown face is awesome.
With a picture of you really enthusiastic.
With huge thumbs ups on the bat. Well, I don't know what you're talking about. What are you describing? I was just helping my friend get ready for his Halloween. Oh my god.
We got one coming in to the email.
Hey, that's the Castle Super Beast Mail at gmail.com. I'm not saying it a second time.
This one's coming from Seal Rays. Says, Dear Castle, super ultra great delicious wonderful beast.
What's up, man?
Psych here. Long time. Okay, listen, folks. I'm gonna say this once. I'm gonna say this once only.
No, you're not. You're gonna say it many times.
I'm never gonna say it again.
All right, I'm gonna hold.
I've never said it before.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say it once.
All
and
right.
I'm not gonna say it again.
Okay.
If you happen to miss this episode, that's unfortunate. You won't be catching this.
That's right.
When I open up an email,
yeah,
I read the name at the bottom to say the name that I expect you want to be referred to as.
Yeah.
People's email titles will often say another name. If none is provided, I'll go with that.
Okay.
But if you don't put it,
you don't sign it,
then I'm not gonna know somewhere halfway through what name you want me to call you.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
So just letting you know. All right. And that's gone forever.
Okay.
Hello, Castle Super Ultra Delicious Wonderful Beast. Psych here, longtime listener, first time. They got their message read. Played FF14 for 3+ years, and I only play as healer and sometimes tank.
Okay.
Never got myself to level a DPS. Mm-hmm. Then I listened to the podcast where you were raving about the damage feedback in FF7 remake, and I realized I also got the same Mind Goblins. FF14 DPS classes have so many cool moves, but nothing cool happens when you do the big cool.
They totally, yeah.
How do you think they're supposed to handle damage feedback in Memorpagas? In turn-based RPGs like P5, you get cool cinematics for your cool moves. In Xenoblade, combat is similar to FF14. There's dynamic camera movements, big pop-outs, numbers, hype combat announcers, etc. But again, these are all hard to implement in online games where other players are also doing the same fight as you. So how?
So the answer that FF14 does is dependent on the person. And for some people, it works just fine. For other people, it doesn't do a goddamn thing. And I think those two types of people are sitting here in this podcast right now. Because when you play when you play Dancer, currently in Final Fantasy XIV, Dancer has the single biggest strike in the game. Like singular button that you can hit and the biggest number happens, right? There are people reporting that they can get that fucking number up to a double crit of like 120k, which is fucking stupid. That's a big number. And when you do that, the number literally explodes off the enemy with a bunch of exclamation points at the end of it. And you go, wow, that was a big crit! Unless seeing that number means nothing. And if seeing that number means nothing, then that whole fucking thing means nothing.
So that number is supposed to replace feedback and excitement?
Yes.
I see.
And to a certain subset of people, that's better.
Because the numbers
because people who enjoy min-maxing and optimizing and making the number go up. So for example, take the tank classes, right? There are, say I play Dark Knight. Dark Knight never gets a big number ever because of the way that they get many smaller numbers. But when their final ability is they bring out a stand, and the stand hits at the same rate as you do for 21 seconds. And what you don't get is one big number. What you do get is the same big number you would always get happening like so fast that the number can't keep up on the screen. Because you and your stand are just bam, 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 right? And so all of it goes down to how cool is the animation on your character and how dynamic can you make the big number look big number. When Stormblood came out, before that, there was only crits. And what would happen is you would crit, and it would be slightly larger in text, and you get an exclamation point. And you go, woo, I critted. When Stormblood came out, they added something called direct hit, which is a miniature crit. And what happens with a direct hit is the number's a little bigger. And with crit, the number's bigger, but not it's bigger than the direct hit, but slightly bigger, and has one exclamation point. But if you direct hit crit, you get a number that's twice as big as a crit, and you get 3 exclamation points. And the game's like, whoa! Right? Now, listen. If everything I'm saying means nothing, that's because it doesn't affect you.
Now, obviously, the funny thing to do here would take the polar opposite position and just completely go run away from this conversation. But
yeah,
I'm not going to sit here and pretend that like it means absolutely nothing, because like I've played games where it's just like, oh yeah, that's a big damage, that's cool, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like fucking most recent example is the new Kirby game.
Yeah,
there's a new Kirby game where you're doing 4-player battles against bosses, and if you're using the big hammer guy and you're doing the full charged hammer and you swing it, bam, you get a bigger number than everyone else in that moment, because it's the big damage hit number. That's the trade-off for you being slow all the time.
Yeah,
right. So yeah, like. Sure.
So the easiest way to describe a game in which both of these take place is Monster Hunter World. Because in the old Monster Hunter games, no number, and it was infuriating.
Oh, that's awful. Yeah, that's awful.
It was actually really, really difficult to figure out if things hurt or not. In the new one, they do add numbers.
Okay, so I imagine that. Let me guess here. If monsters showed a life bar, the game would be too easy.
The monsters do show a life bar, but it's not a regular bar. If you didn't notice, when you lock onto a monster in Monster Hunter World, they have a little EKG meter at the bottom.
You know what? It's been way too long.
Well, there is a little EKG meter on their monster symbol. When it's normal, they're at full health. When it's almost a flat line, that means they're almost dead. When it's flatlined and they have a skull, that means they're about a couple hits from dying and they can be captured. And when it spikes with red, that means they're berserked.
Okay.
But that was new in World, and it's still not really a life bar, but it's pretty close.
Yeah. So numbers are helpful, and it's nice, and they're important, and they tell you a lot. I can tell you for a fact that, like, in any given fighting game, that helps me choose what's optimal.
Sure.
Right? So
you didn't play much Greatsword in Monster Hunter World.
But I did, actually.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
So they have big fucking hits, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So the biggest hit, because it does double damage, is on the sleeping monster, right? And when that happens, 2 things happen. One, if you really rock the fuck out of it, maybe you'll break, and that monster will like get up and fly and fall over.
Yeah.
All that.
Oh yeah.
So there's your animation, right? But once you do that a couple times, most Greatsword players stop looking at that. All they look at is the number. And then all they see is on Basil Goose, with this and this and this, you can get that number to like 14, 20. Holy shit.
So the hardcore, but here's what you're describing. The more hardcore you go into any game, the less you see the styles and
the more you just
choices.
See the underneath mechanism.
Exactly.
You see the code.
At a certain point, people that are like Sorian Dash playing
God Hand
or
anything.
Anything.
He doesn't even see the graphics anymore, man.
He doesn't realize like the style is almost, He
just sees the code.
He's crushing it that hard, right?
He's holding his hand up in the world's the Matrix.
Yeah, so there's a part of that, and it happens in every genre where you get divorced from the assets as you get more and more into this side of things. But it doesn't change the fact that I always love that style.
Totally.
And want it to be there.
But because of the nature of how like packets and shit have to get sent in an MMO, instead what they do is they skip to the end and then focusing on making that part that you would get to anyway.
I have no answer for this question, because my answer is to basically not be as interested in games where I don't have that thing.
It's actually
it's not the deciding factor, but when we're talking about it, it's one element amongst many that I'm like, yeah, that bothers me when I don't see it.
So it's really funny because in
mind.
14, depending on the role, not the class, the role, there are 3 versions of that. We described the DPS one, which is the big number, or many big numbers in a row. Healers don't get that because they're fucking healers, right? Tanks don't get that because they don't do enough damage.
Sorry, we're talking a lot about like numbers, I guess, in as like the nature of like the damage feedback.
Sure.
But like that information is also like the main thing here is about just the feeling of the impact.
I'm talking about feedback, right? Now, in an MMO, that feedback is given to you numerically. Flat. It's always given to you numerically. It's not given to you through animation.
But in really pretty Korean one with the great
Black Desert?
Yeah, in Black Desert, enemies do get juggled and hit. And
they totally do.
Respond to your input.
That's a action game MMO.
Right. So what I'm saying is, it like you're describing a way things are, but it also doesn't have to be that.
No, but
way.
I'm talking in like your classic MMO.
Yeah. In what is right, and I think the nature of this question is more about like what could be.
Well, because why
we know what is.
That's why That's why I wanted to go into the other two, because there are, even within the number or the classic, there are different like styles of this. So for example, the DPS wants to see the big number with all their exclamation points, right? The healer, what they ideally want to see is that party list not fucking move in terms of their bars, right? They're not looking for giant heal crits. They're looking for that party list to stay a fucking straight line with all the bars filled and stay static and unmoving and perfect, right? Your tank fantasy, by that measure, is going to be the reverse of the damage one, in which instead of hoping for the big damage with exclamation parts, you want to see a damage number on some incredibly killing thing. You want to see a 0. You want to see a goose egg. You want to be unfazed. Mm-hmm. Like, there's your feedback.
Mm-hmm. But this is what exists.
Yeah.
Could we do...
With that style of game, no.
Yeah. Is there a way to implement...
In a different type of game, yes. Yeah. But then we're not having the same conversation.
Right. Or your instance has you fighting a bunch of individual enemies that respond to you. Yeah. As opposed to
instead of one big enemy with the group. And like Guild Wars did something like that, where in Guild Wars, enemies would take like discrete swings, and you would have a dodge button that would make you invincible, right? And that was kind of splitting the difference. But no, you're either making an MMO with MMO style combat, or you're making an action game that has a big world and lots of people in it.
Yeah.
And those are very different conversations to have. And if we start to judge, say, a classical MMO based on an action game standards, then we start to sound like Eli. Who drives everyone in my Discord crazy.
I mean, at the end of the day, what exists is satisfying for the audience that it exists for. Yeah. So that's totally okay. But as this email is asking...
Man, that's a really nice, refreshing way of looking at something other than complaining that it should be different every day, be it Bloodborne or fighting games or MMOs.
I think it's a bit reasonable.
I think it is reasonable.
Anyway, but if a game ever came along that managed to figure out how to do both... I would be very excited about that.
I would be very excited as well. I'd be interested.
In fact, I don't think there's anyone who likes numbers that would hate to see that feedback.
There can be an issue with readability.
What about also Monster Hunter happens to have both, and the impact also leads to placement.
Yeah. Well, right? that's a whole different thing.
Yeah. So the boss is not in the boss hole, sitting on the peg that the boss is attached to.
Let's take 14 and WoW as the two top, right? Their encounter design is very different. The WoW Classic is showing off weird shit with the way WoW encounters are designed. In that, like, you remember a while ago, I was like, FF14 it has 8-person raids and WoW has 40, and I'm like, I don't know how you would ever get the 40 people to fucking figure out what the hell they're doing. Right, and coordinate it. And then somebody explained to me, like, dude, in WoW raids, people are beating, like, Onyxia and shit like that with, like, half the gang under the level cap because priests are literally just showing up, and your job is to cast this one buff for the whole fight. Like, like, that's what you're doing. Whereas in something like 14, it is this fucking complicated dance of priority and all this shit.
Yeah, no, I know that I've definitely come to understand that it's a necessary, not evil, but limitation.
Yeah.
You know,
somebody in the chat just nailed it. They said, "WoW Classic is bring the class, not the player." I don't care who you are. We need another mage. We need another shaman. We need another druid. Which, in my opinion, sucks ass. That's a bummer.
Yeah, because, I mean...
Hey, Wooly, we're making a 3-man to go down to SBO. You play Darley? Fuck off!
Yeah.
We're only taking Ukios in here.
Right.
Like, that sucks. That's a FF11 was like that, too. There are periods in which, if your class was kind of bad... you can't play because people just won't play with you.
So that's the thing is that that doesn't sound very fun. At the same time, like we laugh at the term Hanzo main.
We do.
And then there's a place somewhere in between out there where it's like, yo, you played Marvel 2? Yeah, who you using? Not this list of 4 characters.
Get out. Get out of my tournament.
I mean, there's low tier Marvel 2 tournaments that are awesome. But anyway,
or they just ban the top 6,
or 8 for that matter. But yeah, it is. It's just it's the nature of the genre, you know. And yeah, it's this big team collective thing where it's not about the player. You're right. That's a really good way to put it.
I have one thing for you that would make a little bit more sense in terms of like, because there's a long discussion that can be had for this thing in this game is legitimately weird and seems bad. Why is it like that? Oftentimes, the answer is because it sucks. Sometimes the answer is actually this is there to stop a worse problem, right? So you describe like large monster feedback, and like in Monster Hunter, the enemy like moves around us, so you hit it. One of the most infuriating things in the current version of 14, it has been for a long time, is a bad tank will move the target. Ideally, you want to turn the target into a training dummy so that everyone can do their rotations.
And just dump,
because melee attackers have differing stuff depending on whether or not you hit from the back or the side. So if you tilt that motherfucker 10 degrees...
they might miss.
They might miss, and all of a sudden their ability didn't proc, and all of a sudden, you know, whatever.
I just remembered something, and I'm gonna move on from this note afterwards, but when I first learned about MMOs...
yeah. Ages ago.
Whenever the fuck. I don't know. But I remember what I thought they were.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about. I have the same feeling.
And what they are now is absolutely not that.
Nothing close to it.
It's become its own thing, and it's figured out a way to do it and make it addictive and like make it fun and have people, you know. But what I thought they were...
I thought they were going to be Dragon's Dogma with 1,000 people.
I thought we were going to be looking at any film that shoots a war scene. Where a battlefield is fighting a battlefield, and 2 sides are going at it.
There are a couple that are like that. Dark Ages of Camelot would have actually fit that description.
And after you take out the thing in front of you, you turn in the middle of bodies and chaos and find the next target. That's what my brain thought these games were.
In terms of early MMO, Dark Age of Camelot, which was a contemporary to the original EverQuest, is absolutely that. That is totally what that game was about.
Okay.
So you were not actually that far off. It's just PvP MMOs are not really very popular. Because the concessions you have to make to the combat are significant.
Whereas in a classic RPG, you're fighting against the AI, therefore
PvE
you can
experience.
Scale that.
Yeah, you do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want, and just make the computer deal with it and fight back. Yeah,
I would love to see you touch any MMO for a length of time, not because of the genre, actually agnostic to the genre, because I would like to be able to talk to you about a specific human-based emotion with dealing with people, which is something I've been hearing on Discord for weeks now as people are running Classic WoW. Don't run over there. Don't run over there. Oh, fuck. 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 That stupid hunter didn't unsummon his pet. Aggroed the whole fucking dungeon. We're all dead. There goes 20 minutes. Just because fighting games are individualistic and you don't have to worry about
Jenkins?
That. What's that?
Leroy Jenkins?
Oh, dude. Leroy Jenkins, while fake...
But that's what you're describing.
Yes, is a real situation every day of the MMO experience.
Yeah, I know what that is.
No, but have you felt it? There's a difference.
I'm not interested in feeling it.
You should feel it.
I
It's
really
bad.
don't want to.
It feels bad. It's a bad feeling.
I'd rather play
Fuck!
with a small team of people.
Why is this tank so bad?
That I know, and chat on Discord, and then just have fun.
Fuck!
And yeah, PvP battlefields, or even it doesn't have to be PvP.
You get toxic.
You can do a PvE battlefield.
Yeah, totally.
And still capture that cool feeling.
Totally, yeah.
And have everyone that you're fighting one-on-one be really, like, immersive.
Yeah.
And then capture and still get what I thought they were.
Yeah.
So that'd be cool too. If a raid boss was not a boss but an army.
Yeah. There's in the final dungeon of Shadowbringers, there's the second boss is a massive amount of enemies.
Yeah, so you take your 40 and you go fight that 100 and then, do your thing.
But what about when they're not healing you and you die because they just didn't heal you and you're like, why did you not heal me? And they're like, sorry, I was lighting up. And you're like, fuck!
I mean, could the game not indicate via mercy type vision who needs healing?
Oh, no, they know. They were just too busy smoking weed.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
And you're like, oh!
But in a situation where,
And you feel the toxic rising in the back of your throat.
But that sounds like...
You want to get super toxic?
Like acid reflux?
Yeah! Getting toxic is mental acid reflux. It's the bile rising at the back of your throat. You want to spit on people and be toxic. And then you're like, no, don't be toxic. You can't be toxic.
Bane says, hey there, Lords of the Beast. Not going to sugarcoat it. I don't care about Blaze Blue. Or even fighting games.
Yeah.
But my bullet folder goes stronger with each passing day.
Bullet?
Character from Blaze Blue.
Cool.
She's got cool, punch stuff.
Okay.
So my question is, what are some of your favorite characters and designs and IPs you don't give a shit about? I like Yasuke. I keep saying Yasuke when I mean to say Yasuo.
Yeah, you're not... It's bad that you do that.
I like Daidoji. Daidoji. Daidoji's number one. It's a Bancho chick from...
Nothing comes to mind, really.
Senran Kagura. Yep.
Because usually when I really dislike a series, that taint hits everything on it. And I have trouble seeing it clearly.
No, I pick out a solid character.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying me. I get my vision gets tainted with spite.
See, because I will love. I had this discussion with Reggie not too long ago, but the reason why oh, your character sucks, switch to play another character doesn't work for me a lot of the time. It's not gonna say never, because I literally was interested in Kotal and Geras, and I switched to Geras. But a lot of the time, depending on how much I like the character that I'm attached to, I like the character more than the game itself.
Yeah.
Right. And there was a really interesting talk that because there was a bunch of quotes recently, and Daigo came out and said something to the effect of people don't get bored of the game, they get bored of not improving at the game. And it was that's real, and in some cases they'll be improvement here would mean how much do you want to win? Well, pick a top tier and so on. We talked about all that. But yeah, when I think about how much I love Baiken compared to Guilty Gear, Steve Fox compared to Tekken, Darley compared to Sam Show, I think about how there can be other franchises of games where I'm I don't give a fuck about that game entirely, but boy, that's an awesome character design.
Oh, you know what?
About it,
I thought of one, though it's not a character.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't have any less interest in busting out a tabletop, painting some figures, and throwing down some Warhammer 40k. But literally every design I have ever seen out of that is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's just metal album philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's clear.
I don't want to play Warhammer. I want to look at Warhammer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Warhammer is cool.
Zarya is a good answer, but I also played
Is
Overwatch
she?
and enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Zarya is cool.
Yeah.
And last, let's take one here from Lucas.
Hey, Lucas, what up, man?
Hey, nerds that I listen to all being productive. It's been a while since I wrote into the podcast, like 2013. Recently got the chance to play VF5 for the first time. It's my first VF that I ever touched. Saw it at a pawn shop, bought it for $3 USD. Anyway, now that I'm super sure that it's not coming back ever, and I can feel your pain now, I played DOA, and I can instantly feel that Mila has over 70% of Vanessa's moveset. It's been more streamlined. Mila doesn't have two stances, but they have the same tackles and feints and almost the same kickboxing animations. They're both my main in each game, and respectively, I love both games now. My question is, have you ever played a game that made you retroactively sad for the state of a franchise? Greetings from Colombia. All the best.
Anybody who played and loved Shenmue should feel bad when they play the Yakuza games.
Is there anything where it's like you played it and it was already dead in the water when you touched it?
I remember playing PsyOps, the Mindgate Conspiracy, and I remember playing Freedom Fighters on the PS2. And I'm playing them, and I'm like, these are great. These are dead. These are super never going anywhere.
I mean, tons of stuff that was recorded is going back to dig up some shit, so that doesn't really count in my brain.
Yeah, we're in somewhat of a unique situation on this one.
We're going
back to dead shit.
Yeah, so that doesn't necessarily apply. But out of my own interest...
Rocket Knight. I love Rocket Knight, and then we saw that trailer for the new Rocket Knight.
But that's... No, this is playing a new thing.
Yeah.
And then going, oh man, this franchise is dead. Liking the new thing. I don't know. That I never touched before. Yeah, I don't know.
We keep up with too much shit for this to happen all that commonly.
I mean, I guess I did appreciate FFT when I played Tactics Advance.
Oh man.
I played Tactics Advance, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is cool. I get it."
That's a bummer.
Yeah, that's probably the one for me.
That's a bummer.
Since I didn't actually go.
We're more likely to get an Advanced sequel than fucking T.
I mean, you did.
We did. I looked at you with a glare, and then I was like, "No, wait, that did happen."
I didn't make it, but FFTA2 exists. Sorry, bruh.
Luso is the most jackass-looking main character in JRPG ever.
Yeah, in the history.
It's unbelievable. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. No, I'm squinting at my wall right now and
looking for death.
Looking up and down for death here. Nothing standing out to me, so Oh, Front Mission.
Yeah.
Front Mission. I got into Front Mission 3
after it had died.
And I really, really liked that.
You can play Front Mission 3, which is fantastic, and then you can go through the most hoops I've ever seen for fan translation to play Front Mission 5, the story of which will not make any sense to you because it is a direct sequel to 1, 2, and 4.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the last 2 times you bring this up, someone reach out and say that this problem was solved?
No.
Okay.
I followed that translation project for years, only to finally get the thing in my hands, and they're referring to events from 1 and 2 that I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about, and the story's a mess if you don't.
Titanfall doesn't count. I liked Titanfall 1 and 2. That's not the answer.
And you killed it.
Motherfuckers falling asleep over here.
All right, I'm about done.
Yeah,
I'm starving.
I'm done too.
I'm gonna get out of here.
Yep.
Wooly, where can people check you out?
Wooly Versus on Twitch. Wooly Versus on YouTube. Wooly Wools on Twitter.
You guys can check me out at Angriest Pat on Twitch and the Twitter. Gonna be streaming Surge tonight. Woo. Surge 2, not the sequel. It's out tomorrow. Woo.
Yeah, that's podcast.
All right, yep, we're done. All right, you all have a good night. Bye.